Hey everybody, what's up? Good morning, good late evening. Hey Braxton, baby Bop, baby. I just walked in the door from work, baby. I told you I work late. That's what I do. I work late, I work long hours, and I work often. Hey, it me, baby. How you doing? How's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone had a great day. Hope everyone got plenty of rest. Hope everyone is doing what they need to do to be successful in this climate that we're in right now. I'm talking about the COVID-19 and also this situation that's going on across this country, across this world that has been really going on since the beginning of time. Everyone's talking about the Gregory Floyd situation. Everyone's talking about the New York City situation as well. But I'm going to talk about this from based on what I've been running across on these YouTube streets while I've been at work. I've been in everyone's live today. Well, not everyone's live, but a lot of people's live today. I've been in Brianna's live, Tracy's live. Who else is? Jaded Nerd. Ooh, it's 8:30 a.m. Yeah, it's 3:30 here, baby. Jaded Nerd, Lady Neek, a couple of her lives. Just been kind of all around. Lex Max live, just been all around catching up while I was at work. And the conversation that has been prevalent is this racial tension that people think that has been going on just recently or in the past couple of years. I'm here to say that this has been going on forever and a day. This has been going on since the beginning of time. The only difference now is we have the fortitude and wherewithal to have the electronic devices really on our persons that we can film these things and expose these people for who they have always been. See, people think that it just happened because certain people came to office or certain people came to power. No. Remember how this country has been founded. They stole it, killed, plummeted, raped, murdered, and deceived to get this country, to take control of this country. They threw a couple shiny trinkets and some disease-covered blankets to the native people here and lied to them. And those who didn't succeed or succumb to the shiny trinkets and disease-covered blankets were raped, murdered, and basically stolen from. This is not new. This is not exactly. This is not new. This is not something that everyone don't know about, that haven't been. So when we are looking at this as if this is something new and we're so outraged, like I asked the question, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? You should be outraged before you actually see it. You should be outraged because you know that it's going on. What we choose to do is we choose to put our heads in the sand and try to not see it, not acknowledge it, not look at it as what it is. What's up, Tink Tink, baby? How you doing, sweetheart? But he's not the only one, Tink Tink. See, we're looking at this one isolated incident as if this is an isolated incident. It's not. I saw a video today where there was a police officer punching this lady in her face, like literally fighting her like she's a man. She had no choice but to fight him back. That was just a video today that was on, God, what is his name? Let me look it up right quick. That was on, y'all give me 1 second, let me look it up. That was on Classic Men TV's channel. He uploaded a video today. Hey Manny, how you doing, baby? He uploaded a video where there was a police officer, like literally punched this lady in her face. And then while someone else was trying to help her out with that, they got tased. This has been going on forever and a day. We need to stop focusing on one situation and looking at all situations was not as if they are all the same issue, because they really are. We had the Trayvon Martins. We had the everyone else. What's up, Chocolate Bay? How you doing, sweetheart? We had all these different incidences that have been going on since the beginning of time. The Emmett Tills. We had the Rodney Kings. We have all these situations that where people of color has been murdered on camera. But those are the ones that's caught on camera recently. How many people have been, hey Leandro, baby, how you doing? How many people have been murdered that have not been caught on camera? How many people of color have been murdered and raped and all these things that have not been caught on camera? Exactly. It definitely is a build-up. Hey Liz, baby, how you doing, sweetheart? I just got in from work, Liz. You know how I work late, baby. But yeah, and not saying that the conversations don't need to be had, because they definitely need to be had. But a couple questions that was asked that I want to address right now is this thing right here. Someone asked, I think it was Chocolate Bay was there, and someone asked something about someone was I'm talking about trauma, and yeah, it was on Pressure Cooker's channel. I was there too, watching it as well. And my thing is, we don't know. We haven't grasped how deep the psychological trauma that has been placed on us has been. The psychological trauma of slavery, the psychological trauma of being stripped away from your identity runs so deep within us was not. It is now encoded within our DNA. A lot of you may have heard of was not the Willie Lynch letters. Let me explain to you what the Willie Lynch letters was. The Willie Lynch letter was a speech given by a gentleman, a plantation owner named Willie Lynch back in the 1700s. I think it was 1712 to be exact. Basically, he was a plantation owner in the Caribbean, and he came to America to teach the Southern slave plantation owners and slave owners how to break down Black people's, you're good, baby? That's what's up. How to break down the mentality and the mindset of the Black person to build a slave's mentality. What he did was he went around the entire South to these plantation owners and told these men, showed these men how to actually break down the spirit and the mindset and the mentality of a human being to build them up to be something that they want them to be. And he told them in his letter, if you do this properly and do this way, those people will be enslaved for 400 years. 400 years. What I'm going to do for you guys right now is read an excerpt from this letter. I'm going to read the first part of this letter to you guys. So if y'all please just take upon yourself to actually look this up, because don't ever listen to what people just tell you, because, you know what I'm saying, this is my observation and my understanding of this. So you need to make sure that even with me, you have to be able to recognize what's going on, read it for yourself, acknowledge it yourself, take it into yourself and get from it what you need to get from it to make it make sense. It's actually a book that y'all can actually purchase. We definitely, Braxton Bay, definitely PTSD. That's trauma that is so there. What's our problem, child? How you doing, baby? Okay. The Willie Lynch letters. This speech was Sorry, this speech was said to have been delivered by Willie Lynch on the banks of the James River in the colony of Virginia in 1712. Lynch was a British slave owner in the West Indies. He was invited to the colony of Virginia in 1712 to teach his methods of slave owners. Oh, sorry, to teach his methods to the slave owners there. The letters, I mean, the thing starts off like this right here. Exactly. Hello, I'm back, y'all. It's me, Full Junkie. Can y'all hear me?
Hello, I'm back, y'all. It's me.
What's up, y'all? Sorry about that. Something happened to my connection. I apologize about that. Please forgive me. But everything is back up and running. Where was I when I left off on this reading? Okay. Let me start back from the very beginning. Greetings, gentlemen. I greet you here on the banks of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve. It's small, y'all. Make it bigger. Oh, thank you. This is perfect. To solve some of your problems with slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still the oldest methods of control of slaves. From ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. As our boat sails south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, King James, of course, whose versions of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problems are not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its highways in great numbers, you are here using the trees, which means they was hanging people from the in Rome they was hanging people from cords along the highways, was not to show people when you disobey, when you actually um don't follow the rules, this is what can happen to you. But in the South, what he said is that he saw that they was using trees as the same method as the lynching aspect, to do that was not basically as punishment to show people that if you are not following rules, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, whatever, this is what can happen to you. Basically, trying to instill fear into the slaves or to the human beings was not, which breaks them down mentally, which breaks down their mind, which brings down their inhibitions to run, to try to fight for themselves, because our human nature is to survive opposed to just to be killed. Our human nature is to survive. So that is what he was trying to, that's what he saw when he was through, walking through, driving down or rolling down the river, the James River. Cross the numbers. Wrote, I caught a whiff of dead slaves. See? I caught a whiff of dead slaves hanging from trees a couple miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hangings, you are having uprisings. Slaves are running away. Your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires. Your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate and not here to enumerate your problems. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method for controlling black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, what's up, Southern Bell Baby? How you doing? I guarantee every one of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. Sorry, my bad. It wasn't 400. It was 300 years. 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined one number of different, sorry, I outlined a number of differences among the slaves. And I take these differences and make them bigger. So basically, divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. On top of the list is age, but it's but it's there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There is intelligence, size, sex, size of plantations, status, or on plantation, attitude of of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley or in the hill, east, west, north, or south. What the hell's going on out here this early in the morning? Shit. Oh, what the hell? Hill. North, south, west. Have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now you have a list of differences. I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall ensure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. Did that sound familiar, you guys? This basically he gave them a list of ways to break down and divide us as a people, stating that distrust is stronger than trust. We see that on these YouTube streets was that people don't trust each other. People don't trust what someone is. We also see the fact that respect or admiration or that envy is stronger than adulation, respect, and admiration. These things that he said in 1712 has been something that we have been carrying with us, that we have been practicing for damn near 400 plus years. Sorry, 300 plus years. The methods that he have outlined, the methods that he have given to these slave owners and plantation owners in the Willie Lynch letters is something that is still practiced today amongst each other to divide and conquer. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling. What did I just say? We're still judging each other by the color of our skin, the grade of our hair, you know what I'm saying? All these different things, where we live, the things that we have. This is not new. This is something that has been programmed within us to do this to one another, was not to treat each other badly, to not do that. That's the trauma that I'm talking about when I say that we are still trauma. We are still being traumatized from killing each other in front of each other, watching someone die that looks like you, that behaves like you, that have the same characteristics as you. That's still the same trauma as they're lynching you. When he walked down or rode down the James River, and like I said, he smelled death of a slave being hung in a tree. Watching someone die on camera is the exact same thing, just a modern version of it. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Don't forget, you must pitch the old black man versus the young black man, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slave versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. But it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. What do you think the welfare system is? What do you think Roosevelt did when he installed the welfare system? Y'all don't understand. Y'all not hearing me though. Y'all not hearing me. Y'all not hearing me at all. They must love and respect and trust us only. Gentlemen, these kits are your keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never mind an opportunity. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. What's up, Israel, baby? Now, that is the beginning of the Willie Lynch letters. The whole book actually details what it is and how everything is broken down. But just in that introduction to the Willie Lynch letters was not. That introduction itself has told us and shown us what we're experiencing today, not only to the outside world, but to the inside world. Freedom has never been free. They switched one type of bondage for another. And we don't see that. We don't understand that. We're not getting that. We're not comprehending that. And every time that we actually are talking down towards one another, every time that we are just trying to focus on the situation right now of the one person being lynched, opposed to the hundreds and thousands that have been lynched up until this point, we're missing the point. Because that's why I always say this conversation is so much bigger than just George Floyd. It really is. And while my heart goes out to him and his family and all the ones who have lost their lives through police brutality and lost their lives to everything, the men and women, all the people of color and low economic status, my heart goes out to them. My heart bleeds for them. My heart is saddened when I hear people say, I don't know what to do, but I want to do something. Start by informing yourself about what's going on. Start by understanding that this is not new. This is something that has been ingrained in this culture of this America since slavery. Start by truly looking at it as what it is and seeing it for what it is. Once you understand something, you understand how to dismantle it. Quick story. When people ask me all the time, food junkie, how do you sew? How can you teach me how to sew? What do you suggest? My first thing I say is, do you have a shirt? Do you have a pair of pants? Do you have a dress? Do you have a skirt? Whatever, whoever asks me. They're like, yeah, I do. They did a great job on us, Braxton. And I'll say, first thing you do is dismantle it. Take it apart by the seams. Remove all the threads that hold it together. Iron it out. And I don't mean cut it up with not. Actually take the time to remove the threads. De-thread it by the seams. Iron it out. Lay it flat and look at it. And then try to remember to put it back together how you took it apart, piece by piece. Because if you can dismantle something, you should have the wherewithal to be able to put it back together again. And not only put it back together again, was not switch it around, change it around to have it look like you want it to look. Have it look like you want it to be. That's how I teach people how to sew. It's the same thing with knowing what is going on in this world. Look at it, study it, recognize what's happening, and then dismantle it so you can put it back together the way you want it to be. And not just for everyone, but for yourself. How does it work best for you? The trauma that we're experiencing right now, the traumatic events, the social economic woes that we have right now, is that has been something that we have been embedded into our DNA, something that has been beaten into our heads since before we was even a thought in our parents' eyes, regardless of what age you are. And when you don't recognize that, when you don't understand that, when you can't comprehend that to its fullest, you've already lost. Not only did they see us as animals, was that they saw us less than. Actually, you will be able to be prosecuted for hurting an animal before you was being prosecuted for hurting a person of color, especially a black person. So when they say in the Constitution that we was 3/5 of a human being, we are less than a human being to them. It took two of us to make one of them, so they thought. But by breaking people down, by making them fearful, making them scared to move, petrified to run, It says a lot. It says so much more than just, oh, well, they don't like you. They fear what they're not. They fear what they don't know. They fear who they wish they were. Why do you think they're constantly emulating us? I've always said this, and this is not that I'm not liking everyone that is not a person of color. That's not what this is. This is not a bashing of a white person. This is not a bashing of anyone else. This is me understanding who I am. This is me understanding what I bring to the table. This is me understanding and want people to understand what you bring to the table. Yeah, we roast and gag. We kiss each other out while it's not, you know what I'm saying? But you're still my brother. You're still my sister. You're still someone that I love. I mean, I like everything that you do. But in this moment, no one does but I do it to you. Especially someone that doesn't look like us, that haven't experienced the same things that we've experienced. The only difference between I had, the only difference between what is going on this week than what was going on 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, is the fact that we are televising it. It is being captured on camera and being broadcast across the world so all can see, so all can be outraged. So don't be outraged today because you saw it. You should have been outraged 10 years ago because it was going on then as well. You should have been outraged 20 years ago. It was going on then as well. You just wasn't. We had this whole mindset of out of sight, out of mind. If I don't see it, it's not happening. It's always been happening. It's going to continue to happen until we make the conscious decision as a people, as human beings, to change it, to change our mindset, to change the culture, to change the environment, to not accept it. What's up, Ashton? How you doing? Hey, Peaches Jones, baby. How you doing, sweetheart? That's when it's going to change. It doesn't change because, it changes because we want that change. We strive for that change. Hey, Nadine, baby. How you doing? We strive for that change. We work towards that change. And change comes in various different types of ways. Changing one's self, changing one's thought patterns, changing one's actions, changing one's home, changing one's family, changing one's neighborhood, changing one's city, changing one's, you know what I'm saying? It starts very small. And it starts with self. Why do you guys think I constantly say at the end of my videos, love yourself, love someone else, respect yourself, respect someone else? Because when you have that, no one can take that away from you. I don't care if they beat you, they treat you bad, call you out your name. It's not what they call you, it's what you choose to answer to. And if you're not sitting up here answering to some foolishness, even by your own brothers and sisters, why do you think I don't like the N word? And if I do use it, it's because I'm using it because I'm trying to be disparaging and negative. You're not going to say that as a term of endearment toward me. Or we took it over. No, the fuck you didn't take it over with me. Sorry for cussing. But no, you didn't take it. That word did not take it taken over with me. Because I'm not that. Far from ignorant. I know what I will accept and how I will be accepted to be treated by people. You are not going to treat me any kind of way because you think you can, because you want to, because it makes you feel better about who you are. Don't bring your insecurities and your self-hating aspects out over onto me. I recognize it, I see it, and I will squash it quickly. And that goes from anyone. And funny thing about it is, like, I was watching these people, and this is not against anyone, but I want us to be very realistic. I want us to be very clear about certain things that go on, you know what I'm saying, in this society and this world. It's easy to sit on camera or sit behind a camera on a screen, raising your voice, screaming, yelling, acting a fool, saying what you will do, what you're ready for, what you're ready to do. You're ready to die for this. You're ready to do this. You're ready to do that. Are you really? Think about this for a second, you guys. Just think about this real clearly. How are you willing and ready to die for something when you can't even show your face on YouTube? How are you really ready to die for what you believe when you can't show your face here on YouTube? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? What the fuck is going on? Y'all know it's never like this. All these damn sirens and stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. What the hell's going on? Shit. See, my thing is when we're having conversations with people, when we're having conversations about things, we need to be very clear about the conversations that we're having, even with ourselves. Things sound good. It sounds good when you're on camera yelling and screaming, having these heated debates and these heated discussions. Well, it's not saying what you will do, what you need to do, what we need to do, and this and third, or whatever. But the reality is, what is it are you doing? What is it are you really doing? Are you really ready to die for this? Are you really ready to do what you need to do? Because if you are, I don't believe you. I really don't. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. Because you can't even show your face on YouTube. But you want me to believe that you're ready to die for a cause, that someone died in a state that you didn't know, but yet you're ready to die for it. Signs everywhere. I know, right? Like, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's like I live in a ghetto or something, and I don't. You know what I'm saying? That's what I find funny. Because while we're making all these grand gestures and talking big and talking loud, they're looking at us like, okay, what are you doing? What have you done? Are you doing something different than what you did last week, yesterday? Protesting, t-shirts, hashtags, marching, looting, all these things that people are doing. What change are you trying to institute? What change are you trying to install? Do you have something concrete? Hey, Shaquila, baby, how you doing, sweetheart? You know what I'm saying? It's like someone who's thinking. If I hear someone's constantly talking about what they're going to do, what you're going to do, talking loud, what's not, those are the ones that I laugh at the most and that I would try first, just to see what you're going to do, just to test how gangster you really are. You know, we have these conversations with one another, amongst each other, well, it's not, but we don't even know the history of the trauma that we have experienced. We don't know the history of the inflictions that we have endured as a people, how it weighs on us genetically, how it weighs on us socially, how it weighs on us mentally and spiritually. These are things that we need to really come to understand and grasp the importance of. That whole thing of if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it is so true and so evident. And when we don't actually really take the time to understand that, comprehend that, truly be engulfed in that, we're going to bound to repeat that pattern. We're going to be bound to the same traumas that our ancestors experienced hundreds of years ago. You guys, I want to have a conversation with you guys. I really want to have a conversation with you guys and people in the chat. And I'm going to drop the link. So I want people to, if you really have a idea or a concept or a question, or even to refute what I'm saying, so we can have a conversation about it. Not a crazy yelling, screaming back and forth debate was not, but a conversation about it was not. So I can get you to really understand, or I can understand what y'all are thinking as well. You know, I just want to just see where y'all mindset is at, because I think the conversations that we're having or the things that we're doing, while it's good, and a couple of people have had really good observation and really good conversation, really good suggestions and solutions, but we also need to talk about the implementation. How are we going to implement these plans that we have? How are we going to be able to actually do what we want to do and say we want to do as a people, as a culture, as a society. And it's not about isolating ourselves from everyone else. It's not about isolating what we do. It's about being prideful and being understanding and being hopeful and being diligent and being, you know what I'm saying, having a sense of self and integrity that we so desperately need. You know, I understand that everyone has their own way of thinking, their own opinions about things, but the reality is, you're welcome, Nadine, baby. But it's about, you know what I'm saying, us looking deeper, looking at the root. And what Patricia Cook was saying on her live was that we as a people have been so against getting help, mental help, working on our mental, working on we're working on our spiritual based on what we've been given, but not really understanding that that spirituality that we were given, that Bible, that Christianity that they wanted us to abide with was meant for them to enslave us mentally and spiritually. So looking towards the Bible for that, while I'm a deeply spiritual person and our relationship with God is deep and strong, and it's independent, and it's just me and God. I don't look for someone else's to give me the answers or anything. I pray for my understanding. I look at things for my understanding. I read things for my understanding. That Bible was put there to enslave us. Because how can you tell the original? Like in the Bible, it tells you what God looked like, what Jesus looked like: skin of bronze, hair made of wool, eyes red. And now you think that a picture of this blue-eyed, straight-haired individual is what the Bible said? No. Jesus looked more like me than it does you. The first human being on this planet, the oldest human being on this planet that was discovered was the mitochondrial Eve. And now she was found in Africa. So that a black woman was the first one found, the oldest human being. Exactly, Braxton. You want me to believe that the oldest individual found was a black woman, and everybody has a mitochondrial um, DNA trail back to her. Everyone does. And you want to tell me that I'm inferior? How can you tell the original? How can an original Picasso tell a lithogram of a Picasso painting that you're inferior to me? I'm worth more than you. See, that's what my mindset is. I'm the original. I come from the original. And if you don't resemble me, and I don't mean me physically, just, but, you know what I'm saying, a black man, you can't tell me that I'm inferior to you. Even if you do resemble me, what's not, you still want to tell me that I'm inferior to you and make me believe that, I'm saying, it's true. See, we need to start understanding our self-worth. What are our talents? What are the things that makes us who we are? What makes us different? What is it that we do that makes us unique? How do we think that makes us different? How do we think that makes us unique? Why is it that everyone wants to emulate us? Exactly, Braxton. This is like I said. People say, "Oh, well, you're conceited." No, I'm not conceited at all. I'm convinced that I know who I am. Hey, kitty, kitty, what's up, baby? You know what I'm saying? I'm convinced I know who I am. I'm convinced that I know that I am the original. I am the mold in which the rest have been tried to emulate since the beginning of time. I truly understand that. Well, the thing is, and it starts with one person. It starts with yourself. Because I think it was QI and then was having a conversation and Patrick this thing. People are like, well, why saying start small? You have to start small. You have to start with self. You have to start with understanding who you are, what your worth is. I can't instill worth into someone else until I know what my worth is. I can't instill confidence in someone else until I am confident within myself, confident in being by myself if I have to be, confident in fighting for myself when need be. I can't look for someone else to give me anything. I have to know that what is meant for me, my greatness is, hey Tessie baby, how you doing, sweetheart? Good morning. My confidence and my greatness is not quantified by what someone else tell me I am, who someone else tell me I am. I must be able to look myself in the mirror by myself, understanding my flaws, my achievements, my good, my bad, and my indifferences, and being able to embrace all of them and love them to the fullest and do it unapologetically, not needing someone to build me up. Because I know that, like I always say, y'all know this, I've been here for a while. If I give you the power to build me up, I then give you the power to break me down. And no one can break me down because I know who I am. I know what I'm meant for. I know I'm meant for greatness. And I know that along the way, I must gather all the lessons I need to get. So, I mean, not only gather the lessons, but apply the lessons that I've gathered. See, that's what people understand about that. It's about the implementation of information. The implementation of information that you have gathered along this journey called life. And when you don't understand that, when you don't comprehend, if you can't comprehend that, you're still living in the trauma that has been placed upon our ancestors hundreds of years ago. Yes, we can look back at our past and understand and recognize our past was not, but we're not tethered there. You're only tethered there mentally if you choose to be tethered there. Being able to understand it and recognize it doesn't mean that you have to live in it on a daily basis. It means that you recognize it. So you recognize the signs, you recognize the implementations of aggression that is placed upon you. You basically broken it down so you can build it back up to have it work for your best interests. Being able to talk about it, being able to speak on it so it works for your best interest. It's not about what they want you to see, because we know with all this rioting going on, all the things happening in Denver, all the things happening in Minnesota, things are happening all across the country right now. People are there's a blackout with the media right now. The only thing that we're seeing, thank you guys, the only thing that we're seeing is what they want us to see, so they can tell the narrative that they want us to understand, or what they want to push out there was not. Like I said in my car today, yesterday on the way to work, the people that was rioting and protesting was not. What did they look like? They didn't look like us. The majority of them were not us. All the things that was burnt down and destroyed and demolished. How do we know people weren't plants to spin the narrative so they can say, yeah, look at them. They're animals. They're subhuman. They're less than. They're unworthy. They're not worthy of. Don't fall for everything that you see. Think outside the box. Look how like I said, how this country started. They actually lied, murdered, swindled their way into this country and then called it their own. It's the same thing. Look what they do with gentrification. They want you to think that the property that you own is worth nothing. So here's some trinkets for it. Here's some disease-infested blankets for this property, for this land that you own, that your family have owned for generations. Here's some trinkets for it. And in 2 years, you want to move back to the same area that you grew up in because they have nostalgic things. And what do? Charge you triple, charge you quadruple, charge you 10 times as much as they paid for it that you paid for. And now that they done spit shined it was not, they want to say that it's better now. What's up, Manny, again? Why wasn't it good when I was there? Why couldn't I spit shine it? And that's why I did the whole thing with the redlining on that. Redlining goes so deeper than just where you can live or it's not. It has to do with taxes. It has to do with, saying the price gouging in these certain areas, price lowering, places that has been redlined. Do you know that those prices sometimes is 25% less of value than prices that the places that wasn't within the same economic? You back? Yeah, we back, baby. We back. About 12 they're 25% devalued, 25% devalued, opposed to places that's very similar, if not the same, because they weren't redlined. Redlining have so much more to do than it has to do with the hospitals, the school system, it has to do with the roads, it has to do with the taxes. Hey, Lady Key, baby, how you doing, sweetheart? There's so much more going on. Like that, and people say, "Well, why y'all always want to be a victim?" No, I'm not a victim of no one. Trust me. I know that this country was not meant for me. It's up to me to deconstruct it with what it is there and make it work for me. Being smarter, being better, being faster, being stronger. It is not meant for us. It's meant for the people in power to stay in power. That's what it's meant for. Galveston, Texas, and now. Wow. So yeah, actually, like I'm saying, right, they wouldn't, and if your family still owned those properties, I guarantee you they wouldn't be historical landmarks now. See, thing is, the only thing that we can't build more of or have more of, we can't build more land, and that's when you own soil, when you own land, that's when your value go up. Why do you think generational wealth was back during the housing boom before the Great Depression? What people don't understand is that the government guaranteed loans if you weren't black. If you are after the Great Depression, there was regulations and bills signed in place to say that the government will guarantee the bank can give anyone a loan as long as you're not black. If you were black, you cannot get a guaranteed loan from the bank, but everyone else could. So it means that the banks was giving out loans to people that even although they know they couldn't afford it. The banks was giving out loans to people that they knew could not afford it, but they knew their money was guaranteed because they weren't black. So all the little things that was put in place to weaponize this country toward the people of color, we don't understand that. We don't get that. We don't like the lay person who don't understand that won't understand it. They think that it just happened in their generation, not realizing that it happened generations ago. Exactly. Home ownership loans. Exactly. And of course, bootlegging as well. But yeah. Which means like how the Kennedys is so revered now, and they're oh my God, they're an American royal family. Do people know that the Kennedys actually started out as bootleggers as well? The Kennedys actually started out bootlegging during Prohibition, illegal means. People don't understand that. Well, it's not. If you don't know your history, if you don't know what the cause of something is, the genesis of something, or at least close to the genesis of something, you are bound to repeat that. You are bound to not understand it. You are bound to fall for the same trap and trappings that people want you to find. Hey, Midpan, baby, how you doing? And that's what I don't understand is that, oh, Ashley, but the thing is, like I said, I act crazy. I just look like this. I just look like this. When I say that I'm extremely intelligent, extremely well read, extremely understanding what's not, I know a lot about a little bit. So I know a little bit about a lot of different subjects. I can sit down and have a conversation with anyone, anywhere. Exactly. Question by questionable means. It's not fair that people think that, oh well, I don't want to succeed. No, I don't want anyone to give me anything. I also don't want you to stand in my way and trip me up while I'm moving forward. Do people not realize what people don't know is that the government? Yes, mineral rights, air rights, all those things. Yes, yes, yes. For hundreds of years, exactly. And they bought it for like pennies on a dollar, even for back then. Exactly. How do you think all these rock quarries, marble, limestone, all these fancy countertops, all that? It's just people don't realize that, everything on this planet has a dollar and a worth, depending on what you're willing to pay for it or what someone is willing to sell it for. If you don't realize that, if you don't understand that, not everything that you see is the way it is. I don't want 40 acres and a mule. I don't want that. Because if you give me 40 acres and a mule, was not what are you going to charge me for the saddle? What are you going to charge me for the equipment to you're saying sow this land? This country has been built on everyone's back, from the Chinese to the Irish to the blacks to the Indians to the Italians. Yeah, the whole Bill Cosby thing was that you could have your own opinions about what about Bill Cosby was not, but that's another way of saying you can only go so far. You can only do so much. We're only going to let you, as a black person, get so high. If you don't fall in line to what we want you to do, was not, you know what I'm saying, then we'll take you down. Now you can say whatever you want to say about Bill Cosby. If you believe him, if you don't believe him, if what he did was right, if he did what was wrong. But let me say this: he wasn't the only person doing this. He was the only person slipping roofies in people's drinks and women's drinks. How many white men was doing the same exact thing? Where do you think he learned it from? But that's another situation, another whole other story. But back to what I was saying. So yeah, the whole 40 acres and a mule thing. No, you're not going to charge me 10 times as much for seeds as you're going to charge a other person for. The hoe, the plow, the tractors. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to make it so you'll give me the 40 acres and a mule was not, but yeah, you'll charge me out the butt for everything else. So I'm gonna have to at one point, I'm saying, give it back to you, sell it back to you, deed it back to you. No, and that's what they do. From like, do y'all know? Someone mentioned it today. One of the lives I was in, I forgot what live it was in. I hope someone can correct me on it or make sure let me know what it was. But do you know that in red line districts, back to red line again, in red line districts, the bail is about 3 times higher than it is in non-red line districts, which means that the bail for a crime could be the same exact crime. The bail is 3 times higher in red line districts than it is in other districts. Do y'all realize that there are 4 different colors of districts that they have? There's red, there's blue, there's yellow, and I think there's either black or green. Blue is the highest. Green is next. Yellow is, I think, is that, and then there's the red line districts, and each one of those things, those tiers, that, and they still use those today. They still use those today. They still use those districting maps to see who gets funding, who gets schooling, who gets certain road projects was not. And people just don't understand. Like, we're so focused on what they're showing us, but we're not looking at the whole thing in this totality. We're not looking at things in its totality. Redlining is something that they use to um, control where black people could live. They control the value of the properties. They lower the values of the properties. Redlining is something that they used, that the U.S. government used, in order for them to dictate and control who lived where, based on what they thought the value of that land was. Oh yeah, London's probably very similar. Shit, it's not new. Yes, it's from segregation as well, but at the same time, it's so much more than just segregation. Because during segregation, the American blacks, we actually thrived because we had no choice but to depend on ourselves for everything. You know what I'm saying? We had no choice but to, because when you're not giving something was not, you have to make sure that we are, you know what I'm saying, having what we need. And someone else asked a question, where's my notes at? Speaking of the whole trauma thing, do y'all not know, like, even in real life, lawyers and surveyors stole thousands of acres from African Americans because so many of us had to read and understand exactly terminology and the deeds. Exactly. They're true, Jesse. Very true. Very true. Let you know who gets the best schools, libraries. Exactly. So exactly. Hey, Red Afro baby. Good morning to you, sweetheart. Exactly. All over. Very mixed. I'm sure if you look at the districting maps, Braxton Bay, there will be some type of areas where um, the the lower class live and have been kind of cattled and corralled in that area. I'm pretty sure there is. Um, but do you know, after trauma and tragedy have happened, the human body shuts down, the human mind, the human spirit shuts down, and a lot of us in the community has been shut down based on a tragedy for so long. Because like after you experience a death, someone, I forgot who it was saying that when they saw their brother get murdered, they can go to work for about a year. Your body mentally and emotionally and spiritually shuts down. And after hundreds of years of tragedy and trauma and being re-traumatized and being re-victimized was not, your body just naturally shuts down. Your body just naturally gives up. And you become complacent to whatever the environment wants you to be. If you don't have that, it is. It really is. Black PTSD is real. Tessie definitely is. PTSD in the black community is so real. It is so real. It's something that people need to understand. Well, it's not, you know what I'm saying? And I said that already. Fear, change, and someone also asked you to understand why are people stuck? Some people are comfortable and complacent in their state of being. Some people are fearful of change because they don't know what is going to happen next. They don't know what it is that's going to be next. They don't know how it's going to happen next. Yeah, we all have PTSD. And my thing is, and it's just not Black Americans or African Americans, whatever you want to call yourself, Black people here in America. It's blacks all across the globe because because the propaganda has been so entrenched into what people think we are, that that propaganda has been promoted and displayed as if, I'm sorry to hear that, baby. Um, and it's like we just need to definitely understand that, like, it's like I can't even verbalize it because I know what it is, but I don't know what to say to make people truly realize it within themselves and get through it with themselves. Was not, and all I can say is that it's just like all I can say is really just PTSD because that's all it is. Post traumatic stress disorder. It really is because after being beat down and segregated to the worst behavior and the worst conditions for so long, it's if you're not aware of it and you don't recognize it within yourself, you won't recognize it in the world. Like, and like I said, people in my real life know, don't play with me. I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. I'm quick with it. And I don't even have to snap. As y'all know, I wasn't cussing and fussing on this live so far. But the thing is, this conversation we need to have, all this loud talking and screaming back and forth with the other was not, that's not what it is. We definitely need to have a conversation about what's going on and listen to each other was not. And when I say converse, not listen to what you want to answer to, but listen to what is being said and actually take it in and absorb it. You know what I'm saying? So we can do better, so we can be better. Not just as a people, but as human beings, as a society, because no one is an island. It don't matter where you go. If you go, like people will say, like, oh well, should we go back? So I asked a question one of the lives I was in today. Should we go back to Africa? Should we go back to or should we try to change what was here? If you have the same mindset that you have in Africa that you have here, it doesn't matter where you go. Right. Exactly. Stop using these terms that people have used to denigrate us and degrade us. Was not. We need to stop using that and saying that we took it back. I ain't taking that back. I'm not taking the N word back. Not taking or letting someone slide by saying that someone sounds like a slave or act like a slave. Well, it's not. That is no. I'm not taking those things back. I'm not trying to embrace those things. Like you need to change your mindset. You need to change how you think, how you respond, how you interact, how you react to things. That's what makes you different. So it don't matter where you go, what location you're in, what status you may have. If your mind isn't different, your actions won't be different. If your mentality is not different, your environment won't be different. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm sick of tired of people asking, should we go back to Africa? No, because they are indoctrinated to treat us differently than we treat each other. Like I said in the Willie Lynch letter, the first part of the Willie Lynch letter that I was reading at the beginning of this live, they told you guys how they want us to be separated. Let me pull that back up real quick so I can read that again. The people who just got here. Okay. And it said that was it at black slaves after receiving this indoctrination shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. But don't forget, you must pitch the old black man versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have white servants and overseers who distrust all blacks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, it's telling you this was Willie Lynch who gave that speech in on James River in 1712. We're now in 2020. 308 years later, we're still using the same stuff that he said must be used to separate us. We're using the same things that was said 308 years ago. Today, what'd you hear about? dark skin versus light skin, men versus women. Why is it always this? Why is it always that? And it was done because there's another. Do y'all really realize was that this country, the welfare system was set up to take black men out of the homes? Because you can get it, or men out of the homes in general was not, because you can get your government assistance, but you have a man living there. You can have a man even staying there. The father of your children cannot stay with you. Yes, it was set up from the beginning. It was designed, Tessie. It was designed, you guys. It was designed. You can say, well, no, that sounds good. But when things are designed and people fall into those things and fall into those categories and fall into those trappings and not understanding what these trappings are, it's crazy. You think that people just automatically didn't want to work and men just didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? If there is a, like I said, and the man in this, and the man in this case, the white overseer in this case is the government for the welfare system. If you have a white government saying, I'll give you some money, black woman, but you can't have no black man living there or no man living there. So that does several things. That makes that black woman dependent on that government. Also, it makes that black woman distrust black men because they think that you can't provide for me as well as this white man or government is doing. It makes the black man dislike and distrust the black woman as well. Distrust the black woman, distrust the black government, don't have no type of ties to their children. It's so much deeper than what people thinking it is. It's so much deeper than the conversation people are having. Thinking that you need to yell and scream and tell, F this person, F that person. I don't give. No, it's not about that. It's about understanding the genesis, understanding the root of a situation. It's about understanding that, being able to comprehend that and grasp that and say, okay, I see it, I'm going to dismantle it, and I'm going to build it back up to work best for me. It takes small steps. Do you guys think affirmative action passed and went through because they wanted black people to be equal? Affirmative action only passed because they brought in everyone else, especially white women. White women are the biggest recipients of affirmative action. Exactly. It's systematic and infrastructure. White women are the biggest people who profited from affirmative action. Did y'all know that? Did y'all realize that white women has been the biggest components and the biggest recipients of affirmative action being passed? And it's the only one. It's the only way that has been passed. You can say all you want, well, it's not. That affirmative action is something that is, hey, problem child, baby, how you doing, sweetheart? You can say all you want, you know what I'm saying, that, oh, black people are lazy and this and other. No, we don't benefit from affirmative action as much as the white women do. See, people don't know that. People don't understand that. People don't grasp that. And it's not saying that I dislike or hate every white person. I don't. See, people don't know this was that people don't talk on this level. People can't be able to comprehend on this level was not because they don't understand it. They don't read. They don't understand. They don't look for things in their own for their own understanding. Like I said from the very beginning, y'all know this who've been here with me for a while. Hey, Paulette, baby, how you doing, sweetheart? Good morning. It actually something to think about. You did, baby. I just want to say hi to you again. Is that a problem? I can talk to you an hour later. You did, baby. I just want to say hi to you again. You know, people don't think along those lines. They think that, saying it's one way and it's one way only. No. There are so many different systematic things that has been put into place to break and defeat us, that we don't comprehend those things. We think that, oh well, no, it's just because they're lazy, or just because they're designed. No. I will, baby. Um, yeah, we need to start thinking about on those lines. Like I said, it takes a lot to understand the genesis of why problems exist today. It didn't happen 2 years ago. It didn't happen 10 years ago. It didn't happen 20 years ago. It happened from the very beginning. It happened when people stopped recognizing and stopped telling stories and not reading and doing researching things well as not understanding the why behind it. Exactly. Right, right. Yes, the feminist movement. But that was the feminist movement. That was also part of God, what's the black movement thing, whatever it is. That whole thing. What was it called? People. What was it called? What was it called? What was it called? I can the word the name of the black movement. Anyways, they combined those two movements together. Was not. They combined the struggle between the black people and feminism was not. They merged those two movements together, whatever. Of course. And like you said, the white women loyalty lied with their men before they did us. And the feminism will say, well, black feminists will not. That's fine. But the thing is, they lied, the loyalties lied with the people at the head of the household before they were, because they knew that those white men had the power. But it's like there's so much going on with what's happening that people not really paying attention to, not grasping the understanding of, that they think that they know, and they're talking off the side of their neck. That's why I'm so big. I'm such a big component on when you speak, you should know what you're talking about. You should speak in a logical, coherent manner so that you don't be spreading false information out there, that you understand what's going on. That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Very much so, taxing. Very much so. Yes, Braxton, what book do you recommend, baby? What book do you recommend? You know, it's like the more you know, the more you read, the more you will learn, the more that you learn was not, the more prepared you are for this world. The more your eyes will open, the bigger your eyes will be, the bigger your grasp and your reach will be. Come. You know what I'm saying? Every woman being shorty shareholder. Exactly, right. Exactly, Tessie. Exactly. Like I said, so this conversation that's going on right now and all the writing stuff, that's great to have. But if you don't understand the genesis of it, if you don't understand the beginning of it, you know what I'm saying? You won't be able to comprehend what is going on. You won't be seeing what's in front of you. It's like, because people, they'll show you the shiny object all day long, distracting you. Can't imagine. And probably, yeah, like it's it's not fair. And so when I speak, I don't speak out against white people. I speak out against the systematic um, things that are in place to detour people from being their best selves. And I'm just recognizing that who benefits from this. Do I walk around saying I don't like white people? Is not? No. I try to understand and figure out, do they understand the privilege that they have? Because I also have a privilege being a man, being a big man, being an attractive man, being a light skinned man. I have a lot of advantages that my darker skin, smaller frame, smaller thing, less educated males have. How I carry myself is different. That's why I haven't been, knock on wood, you know what I'm saying, being accosted by police officers in a way that is whatever. How I speak, how I can speak, the questions that I ask, how I pronunciate, how I enunciate myself, and how I present myself, whatever, also have a lot to do with it. And that's a privilege. Powernomics clearly shows by the majority. Yes. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, I recognize my privilege as well. I recognize my privilege. I want everyone to be able to recognize their privileges because we all have them. We all have them. Being attractive, that is a big privilege. Being someone that people find attractive, being someone who doesn't look like they were digging that ass and getting deep in that ass was not, is a privilege. I understand that. But once you, just by looking at me with that, you don't recognize that, whatever. But by speaking to me, you understand. Oh, he ain't. Yeah, he can't be pushed over. And I don't care who you are. White, black, whatever. Also, black labor. White. Okay. 2 great books. Ooh, that's what's up, Tessie. Yeah, people definitely, exactly. And that's like, there are so many different ways legally that we can use our talents, our natural God-given talents, our natural God-given eyes to improve ourselves. I got you, baby. You know what I'm saying? There are so many different ways that we can learn and research if we just take the time to look at things. If we take time to read and understand and comprehend what's out there for us. That's the whole point I was getting at, was not just when I said that. People ask me, when they ask me to how do I design, how do I make patterns and stuff like that, was not deconstruct a garment and then put that garment back together again. By researching and understanding what is out there, was not, you have the opportunity to build it to what you want it to be, to profit from it, and to get from it what you want to get from it. You cannot think that it's okay to just sit by and let someone hand you something without putting forth some type of effort or some type of work. And if a beautician can look up and see, okay, oh, there is money to be made in getting a government contract to cutting hair from the penal system, do that person have to go there and cut hair all the time? No. What they can do is they can be the head that trains people to go into these prison systems, these prisons, was not to cut hair, or to train people in prison how to cut hair. You could be the man behind the man, or the woman behind the woman behind the woman behind the woman. It's so funny how people don't realize that there are so many opportunities out here that we can do, and if we don't on that, right, and if you don't know what's out there, if you just think that everything, like, yes, things are against us, yes, things are against women, things are against men, things are against older people, things are against younger people, it's not. It's all against us. Exactly. They could just set up a program or classes and teach and rake in that government contract. You know, there's so many different things with that. And if you just let, what's against you, the obstacle, the downfall, the pothole get in your way, you would never succeed. You would never grow to be your best self. You would never be who you were meant to be, who God meant for you to be. If you don't step out on your own and know that you're saying you are worth more, you are worthy of. Yes, there's obstacles. Yes, there's pitfalls and potholes on this journey called life. Are you going to fall into one and dig yourself deeper? That's what you do when you start rioting, when you're thinking burning a place down is helping you out, it's going to get you somewhere. All you're doing is digging a bigger pitfall, digging a bigger pit hole, a pothole. I'm sorry. That's all you're doing. And the excuse of, oh, it's not our neighborhoods. It's someone's neighborhood. It's somewhere where someone's going to be left without resources. It's a place where even if we do burn our own neighborhoods, was not where are you going to get your supplies from? Well, we don't own that. How do you know who owns what? There are franchises going up all over the place. There's franchises of AutoZone. There's franchises of these different places where it's not going up. Exactly. You have to rise above the trauma. It sure does, Braxton. People are here thinking like that whole street mentality was not. That shit is sorry. That stuff is cute. It's funny to talk about. It's funny to look at. Was not, but it's not something that is long lasting. Generational wealth building. It's not that. It's not that at all. And we need to get past this whole mindset of being the tough guy or being the baddest one on the block. Sometimes, and Jenny Nurse says something like, black women don't like nerds, or what can it be? I don't consider myself a nerd, but I am learned. I am someone who learned and who apply what I learned, who don't care about how I look to someone else. Because what you think of me does not define me. Being confident in self, being confident in knowing who you are, that helps me be who I am. That helps me push forward and move forward. And no one can make me feel that I'm less than what I know that I am in every aspect of who I am. And it may intimidate some people, wasn't it? Because they are not. It may let people think something else, but I have that nothing to do with me. When I brush my teeth that night before I go lay down and put my head on the pillow, and when I wake up every morning and brush my teeth and look in the mirror again, I have to like what I see. I have to know that I'm doing everything I possibly can in order for me to be everything that I possibly can be. It's not for you to approve of me. Anyone. Granted, I want you to like this video was not and still support. But at the same time, if you don't, I will be okay. Right. There's so many different ways that you can do stuff by getting contracts. Like you can get a contract to clean an office building. Where all you do is come in, clean trash, wipe things down, and dust was not in the night was not. And if you don't want to do that, was not yourself, you can hire some people to do it. See, we get so stuck on trying to get this get rich quick schemes or what we don't have and things like that. Not to realize that the system has been set up from the very beginning for us to fail. The system has been set up from the very beginning for us not to succeed. It's up to us to learn the system so we can circumvent the system. You know what I'm saying? It's up to us to learn the system so we can circumvent the system so we can work around the system. And if all we do is look for the excuse as to why we don't have, or look for the excuse as why we haven't succeeded and things of that nature. Yes, generation, we all know that this country is not meant for people of color, for minorities. And it's the fear of the unknown that keeps us where we are. It's the fear and the complacency that keeps us where we are. It is the It is the lack of knowledge. It's the lack of understanding, the lack of comprehension, thinking that we know everything because we thinking that our experience is the only experience. Look at the Irish experience when they built the railroads, the Chinese who built the railroads, the Italians, the African slaves. Look at all these experiences and take from it what you can. Y'all think I just say eat the meat, spit out the bones because that just sounds cute and it's you know what I'm saying, catchy? No. Look at everyone's experience and take from it what you can get from it that helps you be your best self, help you be your best person. And if you can't get something from someone else's experience, well, it's not, then you're not looking hard enough. You're not listening hard enough. You're not breaking it down small enough. Because from every experience, good, bad, and indifferent, you should be able to take something from it. What to do, what not to do, what you can twerk a little bit or tweak a little bit in order for you to not twerk, y'all. Y'all can twerk if you want to, make some money doing it. But I'm saying what you can tweak a little bit, whatever, so you can take it and make it work for you. If you can't do that, was not, I don't know what to say to you. If you don't understand that or comprehend that, was not, I don't know what to say to you. Not everyone's journey is not that journey. We can have the same ideas and thought processes, but what works for you may not work for me based on my mental capacity, my ability to decipher information, all those things. And people don't get that. People haven't understood that. They think that everything is everything. You need to be able to learn from it, grow within it, make it so that it works for you. Because what works for a food junkie don't work for everybody else. Like I tell people all the time, like people always ask me, "Oh, how can you say that to people?" Was now, how do you talk to people that way? Because I have a dry, sarcastic sense of humor. Don't do what I do. Listen to what I'm saying and twerk it. Twerk. I'm just going to twerk, y'all. Tweak it to make it work for you. Understand the policies and procedures and put your spin on it while staying within the policies and procedures. There's policies and procedures of this country. There's policies and procedures of a business. There's policies and procedures of a household. It's up to you to understand those policies and procedures, well, it's not, and make it work for you. Too many people compare themselves to each other. Yeah. You can't compare it. Like, there's no one like me. God broke the mold making me. And a fantastic mold it was. But there's no one else like me out here. There's no one else think like that. I may think similarly to some people. I may have the same ideology as some people. But how I choose to go forward within that ideology is something totally different. I'm not a mild-mannered person. I'm an aggressive person. So while we may have and share the same ideology, while we may share the same way of thinking, while we may share the same outlook on things, how I choose to move forward in that may be different how you do because I'm an aggressive person. I go for what I want. And I'm quick to change things. Exactly. Sure did. Sure did. You know, like there's so many, like, I mean, not even on that big of a level. Think of Michael J. Fox, the actor. He didn't finish school. He don't have a high school diploma. But look at how successful he is. Look at Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook. He didn't finish college. He went to Morehouse. Not Morehouse. He went to Harvard. Didn't finish, and won the youngest billionaire out there. One of the youngest billionaires out there was not. You don't always have to go the traditional route. It's called believing in yourself, having an idea, and having ownership of something. You don't get successful. You don't be successful by giving up. You don't be successful. You don't get successful by letting someone else tell you who you are, what you can do, what you can't do. That's not what success is. It's moving forward against all odds. And who's better than doing that than us? Everything has been thrown at us. Everything has been put on our shoulders to break us down, to pull us down. And we still thrive. We still strive. We still are the best in what we do. That's who we are as a people. The human condition propels us forward. Our history propels us forward. Yes, we are survivors. We will survive. We are the original. No copy can ever tell us different. No copy can ever make me feel inferior to who I am, who I know I am. Down to my mitochondrial DNA, because my great of the greatest was the original. And they did not give birth to me to feel inferior. They did not give birth to me for me to doubt myself, to doubt the talent that God has given me, the innate, gifts that I have been given since before I was a gleam in my mom and dad's eye. My story has been written. I am great. I am worthy. I am obsessional. You know what I'm trying to say? Obsessional. Now, yeah, that word. I am everything that I am meant to be. Everything that I want to be. Everything that God meant for me to be. And then some. The greatness that God has for me, I can't even imagine. And I dream big. But I'm humble to the fact that, it's not within my control. All I can control is my reactions and my responses. What is it that I can control? What is it that I can do? How can I show the spirit that, that I am, worthy of the gifts that was meant for me? That's all it is. It's not for me to question why I'm not where I think I should be in this moment in time, or answer to someone else who questions that. Who are you? You ain't nobody. Where are you at? What's your dreams? What's your vision? What has God shown you? Don't question me. I don't get questioned by someone who can bleed like I can bleed. I don't fear someone who can bruise the way I bruise. If I cut you, you bleed. I don't fear that. Now, that's what you do when you say, that, you're willing to die for what you believe. Yes, I'm willing to die for what I believe. I don't fear people. I don't fear institutions. I don't fear things like that. And those of you who are upset that they haven't charged these officers with anything as of yet, think about it, y'all. Emmett Till, how long did it take for his accuser to come out and say she lied? 50 plus years. It happened on Monday. This is not the first 48. This is not a TV show. This is real life. Justice moves slowly. You have to wait and let everything come to plans, because we know what happened in Baltimore. They moved too quickly, and the guys got acquitted with the stipend. Let things play out. Get upset and uprise when they say we close the case and no one is guilty. Get upset then. Get upset when the case is closed and no one is charged. That's when you get upset. Don't get upset because someone comes on camera and let you know what things are in the works. Whatever. Right now, we have not reviewed all the evidence as of yet. If you have more information, please send it to us So we have all our I's dotted and all our T's crossed. Because you know that the white supremacists that is under these people are under was not is going to have all their T's crossed and I's dotted. So, like, stop wanting things to move quickly. I told you guys the justice system moves too slowly for me. I'd rather handle it myself. I told y'all that several times. Have I not? While it's a tragedy and while we're pissed off and want things to happen right now, was not so we can get some immediate gratification. Let's see if this is going to be still talked about in 2 weeks. It's the same outrage you have tonight, today, yesterday. You're going to have that in 2 weeks or a month. Or are you going to have it with the next person that this happens to? Because I'm pretty sure someone else has been killed by the police officers across this country since Monday. Someone else has been assaulted by the police officers across this country since Monday. Are you just as outraged for them as you are? Or are you just trying to join a conversation to have a voice in this conversation? We need to be very careful about what we put out there, was not how we present things, was not things like that. Exactly. Keep that same energy to the very end. And that end could be the end of your life. Keep that same energy. You know, when the mayor says, or the what you call it says that that's not what they're taught, and then okay, that's just not enough. That's just not enough. They're not taught that maneuver at the academy. Yeah, what else you think he's supposed to say? Oh yeah, that's what we teach him to do. We don't know how deep this goes. How many officers was there when George died? 4 officers was standing around. White man did nothing. And did nothing. We don't know how deep this goes. We don't know how deep this goes throughout the department. We don't know what's going to be covered up, what's not going to be covered up. We need to be patient and let all the things happen that needs to happen in order for us to get the answers that we require and desire. We can't just run out here, have caught pressing charges, don't even know what charges to press as of yet. You know, murder, there's levels to it. Homicide, you know what I'm saying? 1st degree, 2nd degree, 3rd degree. There's levels to it, whatnot, and they all have different charges. And if we're going to put those against somebody, hey, Leandris, baby, how you doing? And if we're going to want people to be charged with stuff like that, we make sure they're charged with the right thing to the fullest extent of the law. So there's unequivocal evidence to have them found guilty. Yes, what our eyes see is one thing. We know we're dealing with officers of the law, not everything is done. Not everything happens the way we want them to happen. Exactly. So what I'm saying. So are we just going to charge the officer, or are we going to charge everyone who was trying to conceal what was going on? Back to the sky, baby. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, there's so many different aspects. Because if you just charge the one person, how about everybody else that was trying to conceal what was going on? Who did nothing? Who's complicit? Okay? Like, you need to be, when you do this, when you have stuff like this, you need to be able to look at things and take your emotions out of it. Because what I want, I can't say, because, you know what I'm saying, next thing you know, I could be being investigated. But I'm just saying, what I want to have happen, you know what I'm saying, is also illegal. So I just have to wait and see how things pan out, knowing exactly, but knowing that, you know what I'm saying, I know that this country is not meant to protect me all the time. there are people in places, in high places was not, that don't care about my life because of the color of my skin, because of my gender, because of my size. Some people are intimidated by that. Some people are afraid of that. Some people, are envious of that. And all that has a play in what happens. Because of the Asian guy, I heard that was a case against him where the police department had to, settle out of court with on $25,000, closed case situation because his actions was too aggressive. The cop who did that was not. He had other transgressions where people died. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we don't know what's going to be charged when and what's not. Are they looking back into what happened previously in the other cases? We need to be patient and be diligent. The thing is, Shaquille, you know what I'm saying? So when you're looking at certain situations now, of course we're pissed off. Of course I'm upset. Of course I am irate. Of course I am, heartbroken, saddened, pissed off. All these emotions was now. Of course I have all those things, whatever. But if I'm going to think logically and want to be able to be a voice of change and a voice of, you know, of influence was not, and reference was not, and reverence, I need to be able to look at it in its totality. What do I know? What do I know of this country? What do I know of this? You know what I'm saying, of the police department. What have the history have shown? While not all police are bad, because they're not, they're all not good either. Have I seen and heard of police departments sticking up and hiding and protecting? Yes. Do I know there are racists on police departments? Yes. Do I know that people who have racist ideologies, well, it's not, are in high-ranking officials? Yes. So do I expect them to have my best interest? No. Do I expect them to take another racist side for assaulting me? No. Or someone who looks like me? No. Knowing all these things, does that make it right? No. But it helps me not to be so emotionally tied to whatever happened, whatever the outcome is. Because my emotions doesn't change the fact that whatever is going to happen is going to happen. I don't have to like it. But my emotions are not going to change the outcome of that investigation once it's completed. But being upset 3-4 days after the fact of the incident does not help a situation. Burning down and rioting places and things does not help with the investigation. You're distracting from the investigation. You're distracting from the story. You're not holding people accountable. You're distracting from what it is that they should be investigating. Now they're investigating the arson. Now they're investigating what you did. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sweetheart. I mean, and thing is, like I said, and it's personal for you, so your emotions will be involved. It's definitely personal for you. So I'm not saying you're not, because you're entitled to your feelings, you're entitled to your emotions, you're entitled to feel how you feel about the situation, and every situation that you hear that reminds you and rips that band-aid off that wound. Like I said, you're being re-victimized differently than I'm being re-victimized. So I can't tell you how you're being re-victimized, and your understanding and your comprehension of it is wrong. I'm talking for from a point of view of someone who have had family members murdered in general. You know, no people have been murdered in general. No people have been detained by police officers was not and treated badly. but I can only go so far in my emotions because I haven't experienced it personally. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't experienced someone being murdered by police officers. So I can't tell you how I will react and respond to that. But I also can tell you that I'm very logical in my way of thinking. I'm very logical in how I process things. I'm very logical in how I move through situations because I know that all this is trauma, and if I don't deal with the trauma, what I'm dealing with it's going to affect me for the rest of my life. It's going to deter me from being and living my best life. That's all that is, y'all. And I said, it's not my place to tell someone how to evoke their emotions, how they should act and react and respond. But I want us to think very logically, very clearly. And when we speak on things like this, and when we speak on topics like this, when I have these discussions, that we are talking about it from a place of knowing and understanding and comprehending correctly. Being able to look at it from the outside and look at it in its totality. Not just look at it as, oh, this is an emotional thing and that's it. Because once that pain, that hurt is dealt with and done with, was that, you know what I'm saying? What is it that we need to do next? What is it that we have to do? How do we move forward? How do we work through this pain? How do we work through this trauma? You know what I'm saying? And that's all it is. And it's not about me saying that my way is right and everyone else says no. But I think very logically. I'm a logical person. I'm a person who can comprehend and understand and decipher things. If I know that there's a pothole there, and I don't do what I need to do to avoid that pothole, who do I blame for falling into the pothole? Leandra's baby, right? Exact. Leandra's, yes. My anger will not benefit anyone. It sure won't. Your due diligence will. Your ability to speak comprehensively will. Your ability to look at it in its totality will. Because then you take yourself out of it. You remove yourself and your emotions from it was not. Then you're able to see it clearly. Okay, what do I do next? How do I prevent this from happening to someone else? How can I avoid this trapping or this situation next time? How can I help other people avoid it as well? And like I said, that's just how I think of it. And my way is not always the right way. I'm the first one to tell you that. But at the same time, it's how I need to deal with it in order for me to be the best person I was meant to be. Hey, Chantal, baby, how you doing, sweetheart? Good morning to you, baby. And that's all I'm saying. And I want us to be able to have a conversation, and not a screaming match, but a conversation. I want us to be able to talk about this, understand how things that has been set up since the beginning of our time in this country has not been for our good. Like I always say, people don't understand the slave patrols is the modern police department. The slave patrols is the modern police department because they were put in place and given an authority was not to come in and capture and jail, runaway slaves. So if a department or an organization was started based on that, how much could it be for you? How much could it be for you if it was started and predicated on capturing and enslaving human beings, chasing them down, running them down, using dogs, using water cannons, using all these other things was not. Just because they don't use those things today don't mean that they're still not trying to psychologically traumatize us. And sitting down and we have to make these police. Exactly. But with that, Leah, I want people to know that that's what needs to happen. That's what should happen. But when you understand that sometimes in certain situations, the higher ups is just as corrupt and just as racist as the actual people that we want them to punish are. We need to be okay with, you know what I'm saying, not okay as in just let it go, but be okay mentally and emotionally with whatever outcome that comes about. We may not like it all the time, but if once we understand that there could possibly be just as many races in the higher ups in the court system, the judges, the lawyers, the prosecutors, and whatever, as the people that we want them to prosecute and punish, we may not get the justice that we long for, that we seek, that should happen. But we stay diligent in trying to get that. That's a solution, but is it realistic? And see, that's what I wanted to try to convey. While that is my sentiments exactly, is it realistic? Is it realistic that that's going to happen? So if that's your benchmark, when that doesn't happen, are you going to be like burn the whole system down? I know you just saying. I know. But see, but I'm saying like that what you're just saying. But I want people to really think about that, though. That's because the thing is, like I said, I agree with you 100%. I'm with you 100. But if that doesn't happen, I need to be okay, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, with the outcome, knowing what I know. Because my emotions say, like, I mean, they burned down the police station once, not. I'm like, oh well. That's my emotion speaking. But logically, I need to think. Burning down the police station, whatever. Now, the people in that community who needs help are liable not to get the help that they need. Because now you don't put a bad taste in the people that's supposed to have been there to help you, regardless of what happened. You can't put everyone in the same box. And now it's a detriment to the community because now now the police officers have anger in their hearts, have animosity in their hearts. Even the ones who didn't have animosity to begin with, now they do because you burnt down their home. You burnt down their place of business. You caused turmoil and damage to a place that they hold sacred. So they may be a little more harsher to you now than they possibly would have been if it didn't happen. What did it accomplish? It felt good. It was yeah, good job. Okay, but now, once the cinder and soot is there, what do you next? What did you accomplish? Mm-hmm. I mean, and like I said, I'm not trying to have anyone not feel what they feel or not understand how they understand. But being someone who likes to think things through, I think about that. Because we've seen riots, we've seen burning down, we've seen looting of things of that nature. It was already hard for people across this country to find toilet paper and hand sanitizer and cleaning supplies and things of that nature. Meat. So now that you burn down these stores, lose these stores, how readily available is this stuff going to be? And how readily available are these companies going to be able to rebuild in that same neighborhood or that same location or that same community? So now everyone's out of something. I'm saying. And right, and action. And that's another thing. That's another thing that people aren't taking into account. A lot of us, be it knowingly or unknowingly, was not have people that are officers of the law, that are in Army, Navy, Marines, was not Air Force. You know what I'm saying? Federal, I mean the Army Reserves, something like that. Police officers, sheriffs, deputies, firefighters. I told you, my husband, brother, youngest brother, is a firefighter in New York City. And when people see a uniform, they don't look at just a police officer uniform. They look at a uniform in general, and could possibly cause damage and possibly hurt someone while it's not. Well, like I said, if someone chose to dox me, I've been detained several times, but I don't have a record. I've been detained several times, but don't have a record. And so I was also detained. One of the times I was detained was for self-defense. I told you about that when I was working with the manager at the movie theater. So yeah, I was detained for self-defense. Was not because the person was a white guy. He lied when we got to court. Whatever. He came to court with a whole face bandaged up. Was not, and the judge laughed him out the courtroom because I told my story. I had evidence of witnesses who was there to corroborate my story, and he got fined. So like I said, I haven't had very many. Knock on wood. I had several run-ins with the law, but I haven't had any bad run-ins with the law. So while I understand, I also understand my rights. I understand what I can and can't do. So if I get to the point where I am going to be detained, I'm okay with that. And whatever happens, I have to be okay with whatever happens. Because I also, you're saying, did something that I wasn't possibly supposed to do. Yeah, the justice system definitely needs to, saying, be more than what it is and do different things. Well, Shaquilla, baby, it happens what it happens, baby. It happens. A couple of mine was a self defense, but the one that I told you about was, well, two of them I told you about was, you know, but yeah, I want us to be like we have to be okay with, we have to be okay with what the outcome is. We don't have to like it. We don't have to like it. You have every right to dislike it. You have every right to, I'm saying, feel how you feel, but you have to be okay with it. It has to be okay. And that's what I want us to understand and get to that point to, like, we don't have to like the outcome, because if everything was not what I would want to do, what I'm saying, just like Stephen Jackson probably want to do is not, will probably want to take the person's lives themselves. I don't believe in forgiving people. I don't believe, y'all know how I am with apologies. So imagine if someone hurt someone or killed someone that I loved and cared for, was not, I'm not forgiving you. Ooh, I like that one. We don't have a justice system, we have a legal system. Right. Exactly. No justice, no peace. We would never have peace in this country. Being who we are with our history, we would never have peace in this country. Hey, Designs, baby. How you doing, boo? I'm doing well, baby. Good morning to you. We would never have peace in this country. So then we would never have justice in this country. This country isn't meant for us to have peace or justice. Now, there's laws in the legal system, you know what I'm saying, that we must abide with and work within, but it's definitely no peace, definitely no justice. You know, you know, and if we don't recognize that and understand that, we're further behind in what we think we are. We definitely need to be able to recognize the difference. That's why I said what I said, Tessie, baby. Ooh, Leandra, I'm sorry to hear that, baby. Did you win? Did you win? That's all I want to know. And did you pick up a weapon and split someone's head open? That's all I want to know. Yeah. If there was justice, if it was justice, things would be peaceful. That's why that's why in the last title I had civil unrest, because that's what it is. It's civil unrest. It's always been civil unrest. It will always be civil unrest. What's up, Fed? How you doing, baby? Um, I feel like I said, well, I started this live off by reading the first part of the Willie Lynch letter, the book. You know what I'm saying? That and I and in that first part of the part that I read, it detailed the different ways that to break down and cause divisiveness amongst the African slaves, and that has been the model from the very beginning. So I think that there's a large part ingrained in this country. There's blood on the soil of this country. So when there's blood in the soil of this country, was not, it's going to always infect the thing that grows from it. It's always going to affect what happens. And while I think that this country is one of the best countries in the world, it still have so many other flaws that needs to be addressed and dealt with on a more deeper personal level. And the thing is, I don't believe, exactly, often brings death. And my thing is, I don't believe in turning out the secret. I believe in an eye for an eye. The Bible have all kind of stories about, an eye for an eye. The Bible is the most violent book ever written. The Bible is the most violent book ever written. So this whole turn out the cheek thing is something that I don't partake to. You know what I'm saying? Good job, Leandros, baby. Hit that windmill, don't stop on that ass. Hit that windmill, don't stop on that ass, baby. But yeah, some of things like, whole, like, people want to bring religion into it. What's not? Don't bring religion into it. There has wars been fought over religion. People have died. People have been massacred. People have been enslaved over religion. And not saying that to you, Fed. I'm just saying in general. Thank you, Shaquila, baby. I told you I worked for the school system for a while. Like, people just think that I'm just crazy because I want to be crazy, baby. No, I work for the school system. You know what I'm saying? So I have a lot of things going on. You at work, Fed? Thank you, baby. Appreciate you for listening. Has to be a change, Leandros, but thing is, um, the change that there's going to be, there's someone's going to always going to have to find a problem with that change. Someone's going to always find a problem with what's going on. Someone's going to always find a problem with what's happening. They're like, whatever, regardless of whatever change that is made, You can't please everybody. You can't please everyone. You can't, make a change that makes everyone feel like they're winning. Because if the changes benefits us as a people, black people was not, then the others are going to find a problem with it. You can't, the change that benefits them, we're going to have a problem with it. We're going to not be, happy with it. Oh, thank you. You know, it's just that I want, like I said, I'm a fair person, and I think critically, and I want people to think critically as well. I want people to be able to decipher from the minutia that they're here, from decipher from the nonsense that is put out there, from all the jargon that is put out there, and actually be able to listen and actually hear and decipher for what it is that is going on, that is being said. Because when you don't do that, you're liable to fall for anything. You're liable to go through life thinking that what you hear and believe what you hear and not doing the research for yourself. I want to give you the tools or the breadcrumbs to follow so you can do your own research and come to your own understanding. Because don't go by my understanding. My understanding is just for that. It's just that. My understanding. But when you look at it and read it for yourself, and you look at it yourself through your own eyes, through your own mind's eye, you have a greater understanding. You have a greater comprehension of it. Might be baby, I understand that, but you can't shelter your child or anyone from the harms. Because for me, if I didn't grow up the way I grew up, if I didn't live the life that I lived, I wouldn't change anything that I did growing up. From the hardships to the ugliness to the bitterness to all those things, because it made me who I am today. But I understand as a parent why you want to protect and hide your children from the ugliness and evilness of this world. I truly get that. Right. So while you won the physical situation by making sure that they know not to step to you again, you spent time away from your family. So I definitely understand that. Like, I'm not so harsh or so hard that where I can't understand and comprehend and see things from both sides or all sides possible. I definitely understand that, whatever. But at the same time, you proved your point. You proved your point of don't be messing with me, don't act a fool. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it's like, but I just want people to understand, like, the change that we want, the res, the not the resort, what's it called? What we want to happen may happen, but it may not be to our liking. It may not be something that we can truly understand and comprehend. Faye, you don't hit me up. Mm-hmm. I see you. I'm watching you, Fed. Oh yeah. Like thing is, what I think is that everything that you listen to, everything that you hear, everything that that you experience should teach you. I'm saying should help you be your best self. That you should learn from and be it like that. If it's for your children, hell, you'll do it again. If it's for your children, you'll make sure that whatever things that you did, you will make sure that you do it again. And no one should blame you. No one should fault you for it. No one should judge you for it. There's no judgment here. I don't have kids, but if what was it? Sorry. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? For me, it's not, I don't have kids, but I also understand that, I'm a person walking through this world, you know what I'm saying, with myself, and I need to make sure that I am here to protect myself always in all ways. There's never going to be a moment or a time where I let down my guard and let someone get the best of me. Never, never. Even when you think you get the best of me, was not. It's as if, you know what I'm saying, I allowed it to happen. Because trust me, I saw it coming. I saw it coming. She does have some good DIY projects. She has some good ones. Designs. I had these little side tables that had a glass top on them, but the side tables are no longer, but I still have the glass tops. I kind of want to do like a frosted mirror application on the round glass tops because they're pretty big too, like pretty big round glass tops. I want to do like some frosted mirror on it, because I like a little crap every once in a while, but I'm just afraid of messing them up. I just use them. I don't use they're just packed. They're just all bubble wrapped up, all bubble wrapped up. Mm-hmm. They sure are. They sure are. What you mean, right? Not you. Who are you talking to? This family came for my daughter. Oh no, not for the babies. You gotta kill them in, baby. You gotta kill them. But yeah. Yeah, I just want to have a conversation with them. I think because people didn't have this conversation this way all day yesterday. You know, they didn't have a conversation this way, and I was at work, so I couldn't get on the conversation and kind of talk about how I want to talk about it. So let me jot down some notes and talk about the way I want to talk about it because I think that we frosted paint. Okay, I can check it out. I'll be in Michael looking at other stuff besides that. But yeah, I mean, I want to have this conversation with you guys. You know what I'm saying? To actually, I'm saying, and before I get off, I'm gonna drop the link if anyone want to come in and just give their views on the topic or not, and see if we, you know what I'm saying, can evoke more information. You know, just share ideas. You know, because it's just so funny how I think that a lot of people, while I think we're all outraged and whatever, my way of dealing with it is different than a lot of people's way. Because I'm not trying to, um, do all that extra stuff. You know, I will, Shaquila. I will. I definitely will. I definitely will. And when I do it, I will put some. I will have some research to show exactly what I'm talking about, so people can do their own things. But definitely, I would definitely will do that. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand that. That the police department was not wild. Like I said, not all of them are bad. If the genesis of the installation of it is not good, then more than likely the whole inception of the whole concept of it is have some remnants of racism and things of that nature in it. You know, and what I find kind of upsetting about that is that there are a lot of us. A lot of us know know that sometimes our own police officers are definitely more harsher on us than their counterparts are because they want to show them that they're not going to give us a second thought or any type of special treatment because we may look like each other. So that's another thing that we need to continue with and deal with. No problem, baby. You know, I may do it just like I did. I do. Oh, y'all. Speaking of a bad cop experience, was it last weekend? It was either last weekend or weekend before last. I left my weekend job, whatever, what I'm saying, and told my husband that, I'll come by the house and pick you up so we can go to the store and get dinner for the week, a night and a week. Um, okay, you got the link, or do you need to drop the link again? So we went to the little store I normally go to us now because they have some of the best meat in the area. So I actually went there with that and got out the car, whatever, and walking to the door. And I saw the security car that was out there was not, what I'm saying. I saw the security car out there, and but I didn't see him. I thought he was inside. So before I got to the thing, I had my mask in my car because I was just gonna run in and run out. He said over the loudspeaker from his car, "Where's your mask?" I'm looking at my husband like, "What the fuck?" Okay, first of all, don't do it. I'm not the one, what I'm saying. So I'm like, fuck this, let's go back to the car. So my husband like, well, I have my mask in the car, so I put it on. I'm like, you know what? I don't like how he said that. I don't like how he came at me crazy. Because you could have easily got out your car and be like, well, the policy is X, Y, Z, da, 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 you know what I'm saying? And explain to me in a nice, professional way. But don't sit in your car and scream over the loudspeaker, where's your mask? Okay, cool. So I put my mask, and I had mask in my hand. Was my husband said he's gonna stay in the car because he know I'm liable to go off, and he's somebody that we both can't be in jail. So I need somebody to bail me out just in case something happens. So I knock on his window. He's like, hold on a second, because mind you, he's on his phone, and this guy I see him all the time in this particular store. So he's about 6'3". He's definitely my type. For one, definitely fine as hell. Fine. About 6'4", you know what I'm saying? 250 pounds, muscled down. Well, it's not, cute. Dark, so dark, like if he had tattoos, it'd be like reading Braille. My type, y'all know how it is. But still, I don't care how cute you are and how much I find you attractive with it, because that'd be the point. Right now, I'm pissed off at you. So I'm like, excuse me, why would you scream over the loudspeaker at me? Don't be laughing at me, Design. He was fine. He's fine. So I'm like, why did you scream over the loudspeaker at me? Oh, well, I just said, no. What you could have done was open your door, get out your car, and address me like a human being. You didn't have to talk to me over the loudspeaker and attempt to embarrass me in front of everybody. Well, I don't understand. What do you mean? So he kept trying to go like he don't understand how do you speak to people. I'm like, well, if you know how to speak to people, well, it's not. Maybe you shouldn't be here doing this position, because you could easily, as you can see, I have my mask. You could easily just let me know in a non-aggressive tone or non-aggressive manner that I needed a mask in order, because that's their policy now, which is fine by me. Well, I don't. You know what? If you don't understand it ain't my place to sit up here and talk to you and try to explain this to you. You have a good day. Well, I also had a good day, and I walked away. And it was really like I said, you're not going to talk to me any kind of way. I don't care what kind of position you have, what kind of guns you have on you, what kind of fatigues you have on you, what type of armor SWAT gear you have on you was not. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way. I'm not going to let someone disrespect me as a grown ass man. And so when I went back to the store, I saw him again, whatever, and I just looked at him like he was shit and kept it moving. Because normally I speak and say, hey, what's that? And we have a little pleasantries. Hey, how you doing? Good. Have a good day. Just real pleasantries. But for this point on, you tried me. So for this point on, you ain't shit to me. And I'm going to treat you the same way you treated me. So this, when I say you have to know how to present yourself to talk to people, it's not to say, you're not going to talk to me any kind of way. Now, days when over there, I'm in sweats and looking dressed down, well, it's not. But it doesn't matter how I'm looking, how I'm dressed. I'm still a patron of this establishment, and there's a way that you talk to me, and the way you talk to me, I didn't like. And I need to let you know that I don't like it. Now, but like I said, but I do know I have had encounters with police officers with that was pleasant. You know what I'm saying? It's because it just is. It's like, I don't think all police officers are bad, but at the same time, I'm gonna let you know in no certain terms that I'm not the one to play with. Leave me alone. I don't bother nobody. I don't break no laws. I may break a jaw or two or a bone or two, but I don't break no laws. But yeah, like that experience kind of pissed me off. I want to tell y'all about that a long time ago, but yeah, that kind of pissed me off. Playing with me. But yeah. Oh, sorry. Here you go. Here you go right here. There she go. Right. Bam.
Food
Hey.
junkie,
Yes, baby.
how you doing?
I'm doing well, baby. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Along the lines of what you're talking about, yes, the young man was murdered,
Mm-hmm.
but I was practically told today that just maybe a few hours ago that because I was not actually raised in this country, that when I say I'm with the Black Americans, and because I'm Black too,
Mm-hmm.
by way of Africa, that I don't understand what people go through in this country.
Mm-hmm.
So, in to break it down, I cannot say, well, my people. I mean, I'm paraphrasing in a way. I
No,
was told that.
I wasn't that live with you and Yah on Tracy's live. I was there.
I thought that was so dumb.
No, baby, you're not. You're not. I was there.
No, I was saying I thought it was so dumb
Oh,
because okay, not because slaves went to the Caribbean. All there was slavery all over.
yeah.
It wasn't
Right,
no difference.
right. Because from Africa, they stopped throughout the Caribbean and the West Indies was not to drop off and to cure and to train and to all these other things was not hurt and belittle and beat the Africans that came from Africa before they came over here to America.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think what he was really trying to say that we didn't have segregation and
Right,
stuff like with the civil rights and all of that. But slavery is slavery. There's
right,
no pretty slavery.
right.
And
Being in
after
bondage
a
is
while,
good.
after me trying to explain it, and he kept cutting me off, I'm like, you know what? I'll leave it alone. Because
Mm-hmm.
people just always think that they know like so much.
Right. I
So
was in the
I'm like,
conversation
I,
because
I was like, I don't earn the right because I live here and I see what's happening. And if the cop go to shoot at me, or my brothers, who don't discriminate and don't, we are a part of it. No, we haven't gone through it,
mm-hmm.
but I know I haven't felt it because I'll be very honest when I say that knowingly, I have not witnessed racism,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand me being in this country.
Mm-hmm.
I stand on the shoulders of so many people who day in, day out go through, even the people that came before me and went.
Mm-hmm.
I will never dismiss what they've gone through because it wasn't easy living in this country. And for a while, I didn't understand it until I started, studying the history. That's one of my favorite subjects.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
the funny thing about that is that me being born in America and living as
Mhm.
a black man for 45 years of my life thus
Mhm.
far,
Mhm.
I still haven't experienced overt racism.
And you know
So I
what?
can't so I can't even identify with a lot of stuff that people said they have been through. You know what I'm saying?
and
So
I like that you said that.
right, because the thing is that's not my reality, but it doesn't mean that
Mhm.
I don't know about it and I haven't
Mhm.
and I can acknowledge it was not
Mhm.
because that's not the case. You don't have to always experience something
Mhm.
to understand it because I'm pretty sure the person who said that didn't experience it to this extent either because you were able to talk about it and tell your story.
And you know what I have witnessed. I'm not talking about just what I'm coming up in my brain with. I've heard people said when I tell them that I have not personally, knowingly,
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you had to know what to look for. And
Exactly.
maybe I'm not aware of it, but it might have been done, but I can't go on what I thought may happen.
Right.
Some people, I've spoken to people before who will say the same thing as you, but because they know someone or they heard a story, they take it on and then they group a set of people together.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you cannot close your eyes on it. Yes, it is out there in the open to see, like the murder that we see happening, countless others,
Mm-hmm.
that is happening. And there are some people, only when things like that happen, they have this bravado about it, and then they don't do nothing or they just sit back. My thing is, okay, I'm not in the street demonstrating, and I was asked that, but giving up life. But what I could do, even though I'm not going to take a plane and go to Minneapolis or go to New York. But
Right.
what I could do is to make sure I teach my kids about it. What I could do to make sure that, going forward, um, you know, laws are put in place, like, okay, going ahead and voting, not only having a mouth action, but having a literal action, and then raising my kids to be educated so they could be the set of people that go into office to stand up, not just stand in the street and make the noise. I mean, those people are they are relevant,
Right.
but you could stay in the street and make noise all day, but you need somebody with the paperwork. You need somebody to go knock down the doors. So
Right.
it's not always the people that are making noise.
Right. But sometimes you make
And
noise
the
and not
noise
say
is
anything.
valid. Huh?
But sometimes you can make noise and not say anything.
Yes.
Leandra,
Amen.
Leandra, what's up, baby? How you doing, sweetheart?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Free Jerky?
Hey.
I'm good, baby. Thank you for asking. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Hey, Miss Design Spy V.
Hey, babe. How you?
I be around here trying to mess up stuff, trying to do what you do. I be around here in
Girl.
your bushes like I didn't mess that up.
But listen, every spoil is a style because
It's
I
you
sure
know
you could
that's
just
right.
turn it back around and do
Okay.
something with it.
Yes. Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you
Yeah,
want to
this
add
is
to the conversation?
crazy. Yes. I just
Mhm.
it's just, we mad, we angry, we
Mm-hmm.
outraged. We go out in the streets and tear up stuff. What is
Mm-hmm.
that gonna prove? What is that gonna do? It's not gonna stop it.
Right.
This has happened before.
Mm-hmm.
The Rodney King riots.
Right.
That it didn't. Only thing it did, it basically hurt because they put more on stigmatist on us. Oh, well, they'll go and tear up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they know how to do. Oh, that's not what we know how to do. We're intelligent people. We're more intelligent than any people on this planet. But we have to use our intelligence sometimes to say, hey, no, it's not about protesting. We didn't protest. We didn't protest for Alton Brown,
Right.
Trayvon Martin. We've been protesting for how many years? And nothing has changed.
Right.
It quiet down.
Well, the thing
It
is,
might quiet down. It don't change.
I don't think they even quiet it down. I thought, like I said, it becomes what it does is that, like I
It
said,
becomes mute,
exactly, it becomes
redundant.
well, it's not until someone exposes it again. It's like,
Yes,
I mean, it's a band-aid put on a bullet wound, and then
yes,
every time
yeah.
someone rip off that band-aid was not
It start bleeding again.
exactly. And then so you see the blood, but as soon as they cover up with another band-aid, you forget about it.
Yep, yep.
Well, my thought about it is damn if you do and
We
damn
have
if
to get
you
with these
don't,
laws. No, in the
because
United States of America, we have to get with the laws. Because one thing about United States of America, we all about the money first.
Mm-hmm.
We don't care about human life, animal life. It's just the government. It is what it is. They don't care about human life. You can see with this pandemic, we not supposed to be outside. We not supposed to be socializing with each other, but they like go outside. We don't care. Do it.
Right.
That shows you right there. The government does not care about us as a human life. They care about the dollar, that human dollar. Who
Right.
got it and who don't?
Right. That's why
Please
they.
I
understand
mhm.
that first.
Right.
Understand that first. The almighty dollar
Right.
and the things that we have to the laws. We've been living off these laws since 1817. Some when they've been telling us we don't know what these folks talked about. Thomas Jefferson, George. We don't know what they talked, what they made up, but what they told us.
Right.
But so hey, the Constitution it didn't include us as
Exactly.
colored
So
people,
it wasn't for
but
us.
it didn't even include regular people. It included them. The
It included
Constitution
white
is about
male
them.
landowners. It
The
included
government,
white male landowners. That's what the Constitution was
yes,
based for. So
yes.
it didn't include women. It didn't include people
It
of color.
didn't include men. It didn't
Right.
include no. It included them that had money back then.
Exactly. White male
That's who they was
landowners.
talking. White male indifferent. It included them.
Hmm. It was to help them
So it
proceed.
exactly to keep their money. It ain't
Exactly.
had nothing to do with the white man. The Constitution. What? It's just a piece of paper.
Right.
Forget it. They're like the Emancipation. Who cares? They still been treating black people everybody. The black people treated this way. The white people. Now all of a sudden we forgot all about our Polish Hispanics that was locked up in cages
Right.
and we didn't forget all about them. They
That's
don't
why.
matter no more.
That's
They
why I
don't
kept
matter no
saying.
more.
That's why I kept saying it's not just about us. It's about us as
It's
a
not
whole.
about just us and
It's about
everybody. We have to
everyone.
get
That's why
out
I
this
kept mentioning.
mentality. Yeah, black people, we have to, oh, it's about us. No, it's not. It's not about us.
Right.
It's about people, period. Like
Humanity.
Kwani said today, I heard her say it's about classism.
Yeah.
It's a class, it's a status.
Yeah.
If you're not in the uber rich, you ain't got nothing to worry about. If you live wealthy, you might not have nothing. You rich, you well, but if you in the high class, these high class people they looking like, oh my goodness, because they can be bumped right on down to middle class real quick, faster than the Harry.
Mm-hmm.
It's about your status in life. They don't care. Color do matter in some point because it's still racism. That never left.
Right.
That has never left.
And
I'm
it never
48
will.
years old. I'm 48 years old, and I'm like, everybody mad about somebody being mad about called a nigga. I've been called that since I was 6 years old, and I'm
Whoa.
48 today. So, but it just depends on how you handle that.
Right.
That's nothing new.
Right.
That's nothing new. Being called a nigger is nothing new to me.
Well, it's
Whether
new
it's
to
by
me.
my kind, I understand that. A lot of people say, "Well, I never been." But I'm like, I have. And the first time I was called a nigger, I was 6 years old, and I slapped the shit out the white girl and kept it pushing. And
Well,
that's what I always, and that's the mentality applied all my life. Even though my mom always said they don't hit you, you don't. They hit you first. I never lived by my mama words. My mama always said, Leandris, don't hit them. If they hit you, I never lived by those words. If you looked at me wrong, if you did, I've been fighting all my life since I was 6 years old. So that never, you call me a nigga, a bitch, or whatever. I don't care if you was black, white, purple, yellow. I don't care if I didn't like what you said or how you gonna get the business.
exactly.
I'm just not scared.
Right.
I'm not that scared person. Like I said, my kids is grown. I'll fight for them. And everybody that know me, they know don't mess with her children,
Mm-hmm.
even though they grown. My
Right.
daughter is 30. She's the oldest.
That's still your
30
baby.
don't mess 30, 28, and 25. I got three grown ass kids, but you can call them all kind of names. You can say this and that, but physically, if you go to touch them, let their mama find out. Anybody that knows me knows she coming. And people that know me, they calling me such and such them touch the kids and shoot. Like don't do that. It's just but it's just like I don't bored, this it's sad that we got in 2020 it's just coming out. Anything that's it's been happening. It's just like now, like they said, back in the 80s, 90s, we didn't have camera phones. We
Exactly.
didn't have social media. We was just out here like, okay, whatever, whoa, whoa, whoa. But now everything is captured and is being brought out. It's not new. It's not nothing new. It's
Right.
been happening.
So, what do y'all think about the outrage that everyone's having about what, like, every other week or every other month was now something like this is happening, and every time it happens, people have the same outrage, but yet nothing changes in the interim of that. What do y'all think about that?
My thought about it is don't ever let up. It's just like fighting somebody. You turn around, feel sorry for them, and then they overtake you. My true thought about it is keep. I haven't heard about the guy in Georgia here lately. Now we have this one going, and before that one, it was another one.
Mm-hmm.
So you just can't let go of it. You just cannot let go of it. I think like we let it go too quick.
I think it's like selective outrage. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to pick and
Mm-hmm.
choose which case that you get hyped
Mhm.
over,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
opposed to you being hyped all the time about the situation. That's why when y'all remember at the very beginning of my whole live thing, I don't say names too much because, like I
Mhm.
said, it never really matter who name it was. You can interchange a name right here.
Mhm.
It's the
Mhm.
same concept to me.
Mhm.
Because it doesn't matter if it's the guy from Georgia, if it's the guy from Minneapolis, if
Mhm.
it's the guy from Denver, it's still the same BS that's happening.
Mhm. But there was a young lady not too long ago where they killed her in her home,
Yeah,
and I didn't hear much about that one.
right,
So when you say selective outrage, I think I heard about that one today. And I'm like, I didn't hear about that. But then too, since the corona stuff, I've been giving the news like one day a week because it's just been a bit too much.
right,
But my thing is, don't lose sight of the goal. If the goal is getting there, that's why I said, okay, no, I'm not taking a plane. I hurt, and I see what happened. No, I cannot. I'm not going to Minneapolis. I'm not going to New York or wherever is having protests, right?
right,
But the best that I could do from where I stand, make sure that I'm educated, make sure the people around me is, and the kids that
Mm-hmm.
I'm raising, make sure that they are put in place to go ahead to stand up for laws.
right. Be aware and be acknowledged. I mean, and
Hmm.
have some type of understanding of what's going on. Like I said, I'm not going to uproot my life for someone I don't know. Let's keep it real.
Hmm. Hmm.
What I would do is
Exactly.
what I would do is uproot my life for people that I love and people that I care for and people
Hmm.
that are tangible to me. But
Hmm.
people, if I'm sorry, yes, we identify as both being black men, whatever. But the thing is, I can't uproot my life and do that. I can't because it's not
Hmm.
feasible.
Hmm.
You know, I will
Yeah.
acknowledge it. I will make sure that, like you said, no, let everyone around me know what's going on and make sure
Hmm.
that everyone around me is safe and everything is good. But at the same time, if I'm going to uproot my life for everyone who was killed by a police officer was not, you know how much
Hmm.
traveling I will be doing, how many
Oh
freaking
no.
hours I have.
And then on top of it, there's a
It's not
flip
realistic.
side. There's a flip side, even with the people that are out there and they could be peacefully demonstrating. And it could be someone who want want the stigma that they give to black people as being hoodlums.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's not them that start the looting
No,
or the throwing the cocktails and the all of that,
because
they.
just like in
Mhm,
Minneapolis was not before the whole everyone that was protesting and rioting. If you watch the video, it was
mhm,
the vast majority of other people rioting
mhm,
and doing all that stuff. There was one video I saw where the guy was like, y'all are throwing these bombs at the police officer and they're running away. If you're gonna throw it, stay there, but don't throw it and then hide.
mhm,
It's like the people, like I said, the people that are doing a lot of this damage was not are others.
mhm. And some people again, it's not even about the fight. They are waiting for stuff like that to get to come up, to go rob
Exactly.
for the sneakers, to go rob for the different things.
And Shaquila, I understand what you're saying, sweetheart, when you say that a lot of people are just it's a build up. I definitely get that. But my thing is this: it should one life lost over senseless violence and murder is too many.
Hmm.
One life lost is too many. So, like, there is at least 35 black people, men and women, who have been murdered in police custody or by police in the past 5 years. At least 35. You know what I'm saying? So if we're upset, if it takes the 35th person to get you riled up, I guess that's what it takes. But you should be just as riled up from the very first person
Hmm.
to the very last person.
You are so right. I
And,
mean, even when I saw the young man in, I think it was South or North Carolina, when the cop told him to run and then shoot him in the back,
mm-hmm,
I thought some change would have come then, because when they like-minded skin, like, other Caucasian people, like the young man that shot up the church.
Dylan Rue.
Yes, their response to him was totally different.
Right.
While that
Mm-hmm.
was going on in Minneapolis, there's this woman in Central
He had
Park.
mental illness.
Yeah, but you see how the excuse that they have for them. So my thing is like what Food Junkie is saying, a life is a life,
Yep.
and every life is valued. So don't have the selective one. If you go all the way with it, and then a lot of people are not even educating themselves, or are sending their kids to school, or even teaching them about, what is going on, or for them to better educate themselves in terms of education itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny was not that they're like that. Like I said, my heart goes out to his
Hmm.
family for the loss, the senseless situation was that my heart goes out. It does. So I'm not a complete cold hearted individual. It's not.
Yeah.
Same time, you have to be realistic. You have to be
Yeah.
logical in on what you
It
in the
hurts.
positions that you're having. You can't sit up and just
Mm-hmm.
have random conversations and really don't talk about anything, but just be part of the conversation. No, you have to have some
Hmm.
actual substance in what you're saying. You have to actually have something
Hmm.
going on that makes sense that actually help you have some clarity of what's going on. And my thing is, like I said, if you just think that, oh, this is like protesting in Minneapolis, I guarantee you within the next month or so, we're gonna hear another story.
Hmm.
I told
Yeah.
But
you,
look,
Oh yeah.
I
I
saw,
thought the guy that died in I think it was, what's that state name? Baltimore, when the cop killed the guy in
mhm,
Baltimore. I
yeah,
really, like, to each one, I'm like, when are they going to get it? Like,
right.
is this one going to be the one
But
that
like I said,
they really, is this one going to be the one? And I'm like, you know what? Let me just, from where I stand, let me push those that I have right here, because I don't have that bullhorn.
and that's why I said you have to be okay with whatever happens. If you
Hmm.
can't physically change it
Mm-hmm.
yourself, you have to be okay
Yep.
for whatever happens. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
okay and okay. Well, you know what they did. What they did was not. It wasn't right. I don't agree with it. Was not. But you can't upset yourself and give yourself a tumor or a cancer. Was not worrying about things that you can't control.
Right.
But another thing is making
Stress yourself
the
out about
right
something you're
choice.
not gonna do nothing about.
And
Or can't talk about.
a lot of the people that are making the laws, they don't. A lot of people that are making the noise don't even get up and go vote.
And that's what I've heard a lot on here was not. Well, I don't believe in voting was not because it doesn't make no
That
sense.
is dumb. I
Okay,
was so happy when I got my papers that I could vote.
right. But the thing is, my thing is, if you're not part of the problem, you don't. I mean, you don't have a problem.
So,
If you're not part of the solution, you don't have a problem because if you don't take the time, and just not your local government was not, it's also your federal government
yes.
because those elections have ramifications that reverberate all the way down the line. And you can say, well, nothing has changed. Actually, things has changed because since the beginning of the thing, we no longer are drinking out of separate water fountains. That's a change. We are no longer having to ride in the back of the bus. That's a change. You know what I'm saying? So it may not be the change that you want, it may not be the change that you seek or the change that you desire, but it's a change nonetheless. And it takes small steps. It took us 300 plus years since the Willie Lynch letter for this to happen. It's going to take a little longer. These are consistently moving forward and becoming better. Was not there was before we can own houses in certain areas. We can own radio stations. Was not we can own certain things. Now we are able to. We weren't getting government contracts. We are.
And that's why I said, for, like I was telling you, you said you were in the live earlier. For me to be in the neighborhood that I am, or even to raise my kids, I feel so privileged.
Right. How you
and how I'm giving back, how I'm giving back
to the chat.
Okay, baby. Thank you for coming in for Leandra's, baby.
And how I'm giving back to make sure that things get better. I didn't go to college. I'm making sure that they go to college. I'm making sure that they go to university. This is my way of making sure things happen. When I left New Jersey, my daughter had just turned. She was on her way to George Washington University. And the first thing when she came home, I make sure she went and get her voter's card, that she could vote. Even though when she was in college, the 4 years she was there, she will end up being there for 5 years, I make sure and call them up in advance.
Right.
And said, you have to vote.
Right.
You don't have to tell me who you vote for, but knowing the change that you want. My daughter was president of in her college. You have to put yourself in position. If you want to make that effective change, that long-lasting change, that it will be permanently in the book, you have to put yourself in position to do it. And that's all I could see.
Right. And my thing is like Faye made a good point. He said a lot of these content creators are having a conversation without the wisdom, you know what I'm saying, to do so basically. And that's so true because it's like, if you're not knowledgeable about what's going on, that's why y'all understand, like, even when I was talking to some people, I'm like, you say stuff without understanding the context in which you're saying it doesn't make sense. It has to make sense for it to be logical for me. And you just can't run off at the mouth to hear yourself talk. You can't just be talking to be part of a conversation that is going on right now just to say that you have a voice there. You have to actually know what you're talking about, because if not, you make it worse than it has to be. And by spewing comments like such as, well, I'm not going to vote because it doesn't make sense and it doesn't matter what it's not. I'm not going to vote for the lesser two evils. Well, my thing is this. You really don't have a right to complain. Well, I don't complain. But you're complaining now while having a conversation now. Why am I talking to you when you're not going to vote? When you don't think that someone, if you think that it's okay for you to sit at home and not be a part of change or not be an effective part of voicing your opinions, was not, you have that's your right. But to try to encourage people not to do the same. I understand that. How do you think that it's okay? That's how these people who get in office because people become complacent.
Well, the perfect example was 4 years ago when they didn't like Hillary,
right?
And then they didn't like Trump, but they sure help him get in office by you not getting up and going to that poll.
Right. All right.
You help him get where he is. So you should be okay from that day onwards. Once he did his acceptance speech and he got sworn in, you should be happy with everything that he did because you helped him to be there.
Right. And Shakila, you're right about that as well, about the guy who killed who two people and then went on the run and they gave him water, was on handcuffs. Like thing is, the thing is, we know that they would treat a white criminal or an other criminal differently than they would treat a black person that was committed the same crime. We know that. Now that we know that, what's the next step? What's the next thing that we're going to talk about? What's our next mindset? You know what I'm saying? What's our next mindset? What is our next course of action that we're going to take?
Well,
Because we can't change history. We can change the fact that that happened. Now we need to talk about what we're going to do to ensure that we're going to be the best people that we can be.
Well, I will tell you, it seemed like since the burning and stuff is happening now, the focus with the politician now, they recognize and they kind of shifting it in terms of, look what y'all did, look how y'all burned up, I'm sending in the National Guard. They're not thinking about what happened before. And the thing about it today, I believe that that prosecutor, the attorney general, I think it was the lady, I believe that she incited that riot by holding that news conference and saying, well, we don't know what really happened. Well, we need to investigate it. And I've been a judge before. She's just throwing her accolades out there. People are not. And I think by people hearing what she was saying, like, okay, we saw him kneel on him. He was in cuffs. And, for the people who was there, they said, we see blood coming out his nose. That's the strain of him being strangled. And you're going to say, but yes, the law needs to take place. They need to go in a court of law because the officer ain't saying, well, yeah, I did it. It wasn't, he's not agreeing to everything. They have to get in a court of law. But I think by her getting out, knowing that, no, she didn't make anybody do it, but her words today was not comforting.
But I don't need to be comforted. I don't need to be comforted. What I need for you to do is do an in-depth investigation. So if you decide to throw the book at someone, you charge everyone that's available that needs to have a charge against them, and the charges, you have enough evidence to make those charges stick. And in 4 days, you cannot do that. So therefore, I want you to take your time. I want you to be able to say, we have these charges and this is all evidence we have. So therefore, it's a strong enough case for it to stick. This is like I said earlier in this live, this is not the first 48. Things does not work the way they work on TV. You have 30 minutes to solve a case, and next the case is buttoned up and clear. These cases could go on for years. These cases could go on for weeks. These cases could go on for whatever. So I think what she tried to do, while I agree with what you said, I think that what she was trying to do is trying to let them know, we're not just going to take this lightly. We are going to do an in-depth investigation to ensure that when we do press charges, if we do press charges or not, we're going to have everything we need to put this person away. Like, no one knew this guy had 2 other deaths under his belt.
Well, obviously they knew, but he was just shift to another precinct.
No, but I'm saying we didn't know that. No one knew that until all this happened. So therefore, I'm sure she didn't know that. The police department probably understood that and knew that was not, but it wasn't something that the prosecutor knew. It wasn't something that the DOJ. I mean, you know what I'm saying? All of these things knew. So all those things have to come into place as well. How severe are these charges going to be if he got away with it twice before? Who are we going to charge? Are we going to charge people that shifted him to a different precinct as well? How deep does this go? We're not going to be satisfied with him just being put away in handcuffs was not. Then we want the lecture. Then we're going to want this, but then we're going to want that. Okay, before we get all those things, we need to make sure that we have all the in-depth information possible. No, people is not going to like that, but that's true. We need to be very honest with ourselves. Well, it's not, because if that was your father, your husband, your uncle, your son, you want to have all the T's crossed and all the I's dotted. I mean, it's not that I'm taking it because trust me, I think he needs to Jesus, no longer.
No, but this is how the country is. You suppose you have to appear in a court of law. I mean,
Right.
he's supposed to stand to have a trial.
But
But what I was saying,
within a week.
what you said there?
It's not going to happen within a week. It only happened Monday.
Yeah.
People don't understand. This only happened Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen within a week. It's not. It doesn't happen in real life with regular criminals
Mm-hmm.
who get a crime was not. Trust me, it doesn't happen.
But what I'm saying is, as far as the news conference that the Attorney General gave, is my assumption because I heard I've seen lives about it, and then I heard other people talking about it. It felt like I'm going on what they said. Nothing is going to be done because she's saying, some people were saying, well, you saw him kill the guy. But I'm like, okay, he need to go to a court of law. They need to gather the evidence. They need to do all of that. And then some people was like, did she just say that we don't know the whole story behind it? It's true, you don't know the whole story. They're not saying that he is not guilty for doing that, but they need to, meticulously look through everything so they could get whether it be a conviction or whatever it is, because they could infringe on his rights too.
Exactly.
And then what you don't want to do, they get to court and then they gather the evidence wrongly, and then the whole case get thrown out.
Like in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like I said, while I'm outraged, while I am wanting justice to be served, at the same time, I have to be realistic. I have to be okay with the outcome of the investigation. I just have to be. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, what am I going to do? Pull out the rest of my hair and look like Jay Wilson?
I know. I heard someone today say, they was like, well, what more evidence you need? You seen that he killed a guy. I'm like, you have to still deal with laws. You have to still.
Exactly.
Because even if you have to turn it back on yourself and say, you know what? If, like you were saying, if it's your relative, if it's you would want due process.
Exactly. And I understand the outrage that we have about the situation was not.
Mm-hmm.
I am sorry, Ashton. I just have to put a little levity in it, a little shade, a little joke. You know how I do it. But yeah, you still have to be able to, you know what I'm saying, say, okay. You know what I'm saying? What is the due process? What is the procedures? And even when people have evidence was not, look how long the whole what's the guy name from Empire? Jesse Smollett.
Jesse Smollett.
Yeah, let's see how long that lasted. That lasted for a long time, and it's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't been really charged or anything.
He was charged. They dropped the charges.
But how long did it take for them to charge him with something?
Yeah.
Several weeks, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like it's a process. You gather evidence. The charges are dropped. It is what it is. You just don't. You know what I'm saying? You just don't think that you're gonna blink and next thing you know is happening. That's not how it works.
But then, go ahead.
I'm finished, baby.
But then again, we have to look at it from this point of view, even in terms of what happened that is so horrible. Yes, we see that he got murdered. Mm-hmm. Some of the people that are doing the violence, their motive is not even pure.
Right, exactly what I'm saying. And it's not even
is the come up.
Now it's the come up or it's not. It can be this may be a little conspiracy theory, but it could be to convict and make the whole protest movement look bad. It can be the fact that it could be infiltrators was not of white supremacy to make black people look bad, like that's all we do is violence was not. It can be any number of things that happen.
Oh, I was listening to a news program tonight, and the news reporter said, it's not the people of Minneapolis that is doing that. It's that other group that goes in whenever something happens.
Right.
That other group, but they're not calling the name.
Right. Because
we need to crack down on them for coming into the state and pursuing violence.
Because that could be possible.
That could be possible. And what could be possible is the same people that's screaming they're thugs, they're the one that threw in the first rock.
Exactly. Those are the infiltrators.
Because someone said on another live that it was a police officer. I don't know how true it is, but they caught him on tape looting too.
Mm.
You know, when things happen, a lot of stuff is being said.
Yeah, I don't put it past what's not, but also you can't believe everything that's being said. Like if
Truth.
they say they have evidence was not, show me the evidence and then tell me the story. But don't tell me the story and say we have evidence. We'll show you later. No, because I don't know. Like I said, I don't put it past.
But I'm saying anything is possible, because just like the good cops, they are bad cops. There are good people out there, there's bad people out there. But it's, a lot of stuff is being spread around, but at the bottom line is due process.
Exactly.
Because I would like the same too.
Right, and that's all I'm trying to say was that, and I want everybody to be okay with due process because you want it to be done to you. You don't have to like it, but in the laws of this country is say that everyone is required to have due process. But I've been up yesterday, and I said,
on top of due process, you voting and make sure the people in your life, even though it may skip your generation, make sure the next generation behind you pursue that thing they call education and knowledge.
Understand.
Pass it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay, babe.
I need to go to sleep.
Okay, have a good night.
Thank you. You too. I want to thank everyone for being here with me. It's been 3 hours. We've been talking about this and communicating on this level. I want to thank you guys for being here, supporting and being just respectful of the chat and the conversation. Like I said, this isn't to bash anyone. This isn't to make anyone feel inferior for their beliefs. I just want everyone to be comfortable and knowledgeable and okay with what's happening, but understanding the genesis of what's going on as well and where it all came from. This is just not happenstance. This is just not something that happened, without being programmed. I want everyone to understand that, this is something that has been put into place in order for us to be where we are. It has been there, and it's just trauma that we are constantly experiencing over and over and over again. We are constantly being re-victimized, But yeah, you guys, be very careful out there. Be safe. Protect yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. Make sure that you have all the tools you need to be the best person that you was meant to be. I love you guys. As I always say, it's not important that I love you guys, but it's more important that you love yourself, that you love someone else, that you respect yourself, and that you respect someone else. Please don't just take everything that you hear in your entire being. Take in things that help you be your best self. In essence, eating the meat and spitting out the bones. Do not allow someone to tell you how you feel or what you believe. Know that for yourself and bring things to you and in you through energy and reading and understanding and comprehension that helps you be your best self, you guys. I love you guys. Y'all be safe. I want you guys to always trust your instincts, trust yourself, believe in yourself, love yourself, respect yourself, you guys. I just want to thank y'all so much, you guys. Y'all are just the best. I love you guys. And I will talk to y'all later. Y'all, when I wake up, y'all know I will. Kisses back, Ashton. I'll talk to y'all later. Until next time, y'all, this is your boy Food Junkie, and I'm out.